Well, hello, everybody. We are live, from what I can tell. Can everybody hear me? Those of you backstage can nod if you can hear me. Oh, you can? All right. Great. Hi, everybody. So I have Kodiak here. I didn't have a snake until about 3 seconds before I went live. I realized that I needed to have somebody. So I grabbed him because he was awake. Looks like you guys can hear me. Hi, everyone. There's a bunch of people in already. That's cool. And I think I saw a super chat already. Granny's got balls. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Do you have a question that goes with that, or is that just a gratuitous super chat? I really appreciate it. That's nice. So here's what's happening. We're going to do this is we're going to try to do a regular live stream, as well as I'm going to have Dave Kaufman, Amy Bentley, and Amy Benzie in a little bit. We're going to do this. I'm going to talk for a little bit to let people get in, and once there's enough people in, I'll bring them on, and we'll talk about our trip. What I've told Dave is that I won't give any major spoilers, but he can if he wants. So, because we both have videos coming out on the trip, the videos will cover similar things, but in very different ways. So, and also, well, I'll talk about that when I have Dave on. Let's just, here's Spencer Lambus. He's in. Here, I'll make this quick announcement. Spencer, with the Royals Project, is going to be the new ball python breeder sponsor for pythons. Gray Family was sponsoring us for a year. That was the deal, is that he'd sponsor for a year, and then we'd move on to someone else. And I love Roger. Great Family Snakes is great. You guys should check them out. But we're switching now. It's been a year, and so we're switching, and Spencer is going to be the new sponsor, which I'm really happy about because Spencer and I are friends. He's got a couple of snakes that I produced, and I'm excited to have him sponsoring. Here, let me see if I can answer this question really quick. I'll take a couple questions, and then we'll get into this. Oh, I got to show you what I'm drinking too. Question: have you ever fed day-old chicks to your ball python? Yes, I have. At what age does the snake get confused by the wings? I don't know why it makes me nervous, but I do like to vary the foods a bit. Yeah, so I have, just because I've had an extra one before, and I gave it to a snake that I knew would have no problem taking it, and I gave it to a snake that I knew wouldn't, like, just all of a sudden get stuck on birds. So normally I would not recommend feeding birds to your ball python, just because they're tricky eaters anyway. And I don't know what I mean, just judge the size. Birds are less dense and less nutritious than rodents, but the wings are not a problem. If they eat them backwards, it's just going to take a long time, but they'll get it. They'll figure it out. Lori, thanks for this super chat. Bindi loves seeing her brother. That's right. This is, you have Kodiak's sister, Bindi, who is also a clown pied. And they are both beautiful little snakes. Kodiak was up and awake, which is a little bit weird. But I had him outside earlier, about an hour ago. I brought him outside to get some sun. Lori, it's good to see you. Thanks for that super chat. And also, thanks for the update on Marie today. Lori has a couple of snakes that I produced. Brian, I will breed Echo and Stella when it's time. We're not there yet, though. Tammy, this is a relatively new hat, but I've had it for a while. I like it. It's my favorite hat. Hog Strictors, thanks for the super chat. Welcome back. Small donation for your new phone. Thanks. We'll talk about the phone when I bring these people on. So I'll make the disclaimer again, you guys. I will not see everything in the chat. Most of the questions I'm going to miss. If you have a question that you really want me to see, super chat it and I'll see it. Otherwise, depending on when you post your question or whatever, I may see it, I may not. So that's that. Here's what I'm drinking. I was going to be drinking Highland Park 12 because it's a nice scotch and I got it at the duty-free store in Suriname. In Suriname? I think so. When I was leaving Suriname. Got it at the duty-free store. And or maybe I got it in Miami. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. No, it would have had to have been Suriname because it's duty-free. You gotta go to a different country. So I bought it and it didn't fit in my luggage. So I put it in Amy Bentley's luggage. And guess what? It ended up in Utah with Amy Bentley because I forgot that it was in her luggage when we landed. So she's drinking Highland Park 12, which is my gift to her. And I'm drinking Lagavulin 16, which was her gift to me. She buys me Lagavulin. And I will say that the Lagavulin is a better scotch than the Highland Park. But they're both good. Let's see if Kodiak can stay on my felt hat. He can't. He's going to fall. I wear these hats because snakes like to crawl on them, but this particular one is not a good hat for snakes. It was not a good choice. That Lagavulin is so good. You all are congratulating Amy for stealing my scotch. Good work. Hi, Katie. Katie's in. That's Amy's sister, everybody. Okay. So let me see if there's anything that I need to take care of here. Nope. Let's just bring these guys on. You guys want to hear about the trip? I'll take that as a yes. Here we go. Amy B, Dave, and Amy B.
In a hammock.
Look at your cute hat.
I gotta put my headphones on.
Wait a minute. Look at this.
Here, hang on. First, I gotta hang on a second. I'm gonna move this snake, get headphones on, because that's the way I set this up. All right, now I think I can hear you guys.
Oh, hi.
This is a Scotch show.
Hi, everybody. Amy Benzie, you're just in your hammock with a jazz hat and bongos.
And I'm about to get a bourbon or a Scotch. Am I getting Scotch? I'm getting Scotch.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I don't think you're a Scotch drinker, Amy, are you?
No, but I'm doing it for your show. And that's the same reason I have this cool hat.
I appreciate that. That's really nice. The other Amy B is a Scotch drinker. Dave, how much Scotch do you drink?
I'm actually drinking a glass full of
Vodka, clearly. Yeah.
Vodka is what this is. Can I just say something here real quick before we begin?
Yeah.
Look at how beautiful your background is. Look at how beautiful the Amy's background is. And
Dave, you've got a simple background. You've got a nice fireplace with a hearth. It looks welcoming.
It's hearthy.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you could see the rest of where I am, it's epic. This little corner, horrid.
I wouldn't say horrid, but it's nice to know that you're not trying to show off the epicness around the rest of you.
That is true. I very rarely show off.
Right. Larry's showing off the Scott. I don't even know what that is, but that looked like a nice bottle.
Oh yeah, what we got over there?
Muckety buck.
Lookity book.
All right, let's go.
I can't wait.
I'm
to try
enjoying
barely
this
one
nice
drop. One drop. Okay.
bottle of Highland Park 12.
Highland
which
Park
came
12.
straight from the duty-free store. The Suriname airport.
That's right. I bought
I'm
it for Amy.
drinking coffee out of my Star Wars mug that I poured at 8:00 this morning.
Amazing.
I feel
Nice.
so left out here.
Nice. Let me just grab Swish Zor's super chat really quick. Swish Zor's, thanks for this. I've been a patron for about 3 weeks now, and just want to say how much I love your Discover community. They're all incredibly helpful. Oh, that's great. Yes, they are. The community there is fantastic. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. Thanks for that super chat. Okay.
Hi, Viz Pythons. I am quite Minnesotan, actually.
Yeah, Dave loves Minnesota.
I do. I love Minnesota. It's snowing outside right now, and I love it.
TV screen.
I want to take a trip to Minnesota and find some of those timber rattlesnakes that you were telling me about.
Anytime, come on up.
That'd be a great video. Let's talk about this trip.
Yeah,
ladies and gentlemen.
Let's do it.
Dave, first of all, tell me your assessment of this trip. Like, where does it rank in all the travels that you have made throughout the world?
This trip was just absolutely awful. I could not wait to get home. I am so thankful that I'm home now.
I mean, some trips go like that.
Oh my God.
It was terrible, you guys. It was an awful trip. We had a terrible time.
So, as a lot of you know, I do tour this planet. I've been to a lot of places. I've been on some pretty bad trips. I've been on some pretty good trips. This one topped them all. This one was so utterly fantastic. And I'll tell you exactly why. It's because of these. Wait a minute. Well, this is how I'm in the corner down here. These three people right here. Does that work? Because it works on my screen.
Yeah. Your middle finger is pointing to me, so that works.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yep, that is not that was planned. But no, it wasn't. No, this trip was absolutely fantastic. You know, when you go to a place for the first time, you have no context of what you're about to get into. And when you hear primitive camping, and when you hear that we're hunting and fishing for our food every night, and that food includes giant jungle rats and
that's right,
whatever else we're going to eat out there in the woods, in the rainforest, you're like, this is going to be absolutely epic. But then there's that little voice inside your head that's like, what the hell are you doing? And, you know, like every single moment of it, it's such a rare trip where every single moment of it was just one epic thing after another epic thing after another epic thing. You know, nothing went wrong. Nobody's phone or camera broke. Nobody's.
So I'll tell you, your assessment. I think that's true. Also, between epic things, it was just laughter the whole time. Like, we were constantly laughing.
Hey, you guys, remember the first night at camp when we got the huge anaconda and Dave fell asleep and he was like snoring in and laughing out?
So apparently I was laughing in my sleep the night that we caught the anaconda.
Yeah. So there's Amy Benzie with the first spoiler, by the way.
Oh, damn. Leave it to me.
So I was going to say something. Oh yeah. As far as things going wrong. So here was, first of all, the first night that we were going sort of deep into the jungle. We were on a 17-hour car ride, basically van ride.
A herping expedition.
It was a herping expedition, but we were in a van on a dirt road with potholes for 17 hours. It went a lot longer than we expected. And in the middle of the night, I stepped out of the van to get outside and stepped directly into a pothole that I didn't see. And I fell directly onto my brand new phone that I bought because it has the best camera ever. And I was so excited to take pictures with this camera. And I broke the phone. So I didn't have my phone. Fortunately, Amy Bentley came through because she has the same phone. And she was able to take footage from that. So that was my big problem, but it was fine. It was fine. And then it turned out that, you know, we wanted to be there during this sort of light, wet season. And it turned out that the Amazon jungle in that area is having a drought, so it was drier than it was when I was there 6 months ago during the dry season, and that affects how many animals we see and how many snakes we find. And so there was kind of this question mark as to whether we were going to find stuff and have videos.
Can I just interject something?
Yeah.
As of 3 hours ago. Wait. Oh, I can't turn it. It doesn't turn on. I don't know how to do this. Hang on.
Amy, you look so beautiful. I miss you so much.
I miss you so much.
You
You with your little Shaja.
I now have the Ultra. Oh, look, there's us.
It just turned. Yeah, it just turned off.
It just turned off, and now it's free. So I literally just got this 3 hours ago. Amy, yes, you look so pretty. But I don't know how to work this damn thing.
That's because you switched from an iPhone. We talked Dave into getting this. It's the Galaxy S24 Ultra.
Brand new thingy.
With brand
and me
new...
too. Mine's on its way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Amy, you got one too?
We all have we are the Ultra Club.
That's fantastic. Jen, Amy has a iguana, a very, very cute, well socialized.
You are now officially known as Hammock Amy.
Hammock Amy, I love it. I'm putting this guy back. I'll be right back.
You guys, the crew on our tour, the hunters and the trappers and our guides and our cooks could not settle on how to distinguish between Amy and I. So for the whole trip, I was known as number 2.
Amy number 2.
And I thought it was the funniest thing of all time ever. And it was phenomenal. So now I am now number 2. That's my
You're
new name.
number 1.
Oh my gosh, you're number 1.
I distinguish you by referring as Amy and as Amy B, as you have on your screens. I think that works perfectly.
No confusion at all.
No, the tone and the way you say it says it all.
Amy,
that's right.
She gets the nice Amy. I get that. Amy?
Which Amy Bob is talking to by the tone of his voice.
Amy Benzie, who's in the hammock, thinks that when I talk to Amy Bentley, I have a sweeter tone in my voice. And that's not true always. She didn't get it. She didn't always get it right, but sometimes she was able to tell which one I was talking to. And really, it's a 50% shot, right? There's only 2 Amy's, so you got a 50% chance of guessing it right.
Well, technically, the boat is also named Amy, and also the jungle toilet is named Amy number 2.
I didn't know the jungle toilet was named Amy.
So
they named it after me.
Amy number 2.
There is
Amy number 2.
Amy number 2.
Just for everyone's that's not in on this, there is a jungle toilet. I don't think it's ever been used. Was it used on this trip at all?
No, and Mark used it one time on the first trip we had it, but that was it.
Okay, so Mark, Amy was going on a trip. This was a while back. It was bringing 2 women on a trip. So Mark thought, all right, I have to build a toilet. It's like a box with a toilet seat that he carved all nice and built.
But
everything.
The seat is like, goes at an angle like a real toilet seat,
Yeah. He did a really great job. Nobody has used it ever. Like, it's just this joke. That
and it's heavy.
Toilet,
it's super heavy.
Yeah, there's no reason to bring that thing. Nobody's going to use it. It's so funny, though. It was so nice of him to build that. So the toilet now the boat, first of all, is named Amy after Amy Benzie. And now we're saying I didn't hear this. The toilet is now called Amy number 2. I love it. That's hysterical.
After me.
Yes.
The toilet after me.
It's great. It's brilliant. So, I don't know how many spoilers to give, but we found snakes. We didn't find a yellowtail crebo, which I really wanted to find, and we were looking and did not come across one, but we found some other stuff. Dave, you want to talk about anything?
Yeah, I do. I want to talk about a lot of things, actually.
Let's hear it.
Forgot what I was going to say.
Try to stay on topic. Let's be on topic of this particular trip.
I want to go back to that bathroom for a second. The Amy potty.
Yeah.
For a second. So I want you guys to all to imagine this scenario, right? So, like, if this is the camp area, right? Up here was our hammock tents,
He
right?
never meant us to use it there. It was
Over here was where everybody else slept. Over here was like woods and whatever, right? The potty was right there in the middle of everybody.
Right in between the two camps.
And
but it was just set there.
Rock in the middle of nowhere, and nobody's going to use that thing.
It wasn't meant to be used right there. He just had it there.
But
how great would it have been if somebody decided to use it right there where he said it, though?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Fantastic. Is that
why did you check? How do you know nobody did?
Oh, touche.
True.
I didn't ever check it.
I never lifted that lid.
I might have used it.
The one time I really looked at that toilet, there was a spider on it, so I never touched it.
So as a YouTube content creator that's doing a live stream, it's at one point in this live stream, I think to myself, we got to get off the toilet stuff and get into the actual reptile stuff so that people keep watching the show. So I throw it to Dave to talk about the reptile stuff.
And I bring it right back to the toilet
stuff to talk about.
So you want to talk about the reptiles that we found there?
Yeah, sure.
All right. So we found some cool stuff. Now, let me go back to this toilet first, just a real quick second. No. So how much are we telling on this live stream? Are we telling all, or are we
I don't think
holding
so.
back for our videos, or what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so. I had mentioned that I'm not going to give any spoilers.
Okay.
But you can if you want. Amy Benzie already said we found a big anaconda, so I guess that cat's out of the bag.
I was just kidding. It was just a joke.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
No,
she was just
like
joking
an example,
about that.
like if we had found, you know.
She was totally kidding.
Yeah.
All right. So if we're going to talk about that, yes, the first night out there, I can't really say we.
Oh my God.
What?
It's such a great story.
It's a great story.
Tell it.
But are you telling it in your video? Because
I'm telling
not.
the story in my video, yes.
Okay.
But you're showing the story in your video, and this is just a little synopsis, an exciting synopsis, but the actual story will be seen and told fully in the video.
True. All right. So yeah, the first night in camp, right? One of the Kenny
our boat captain.
Right. Comes up and he says, "Hey, there's a big anaconda over there." So Mark, the other hunter, and we jump in the water with the piranhas and the electric eels like encroaching on us, like slowly with malicious intent.
I'm not sure if we actually saw any. I'm just trying to be honest in this storytelling, but go ahead.
They were creeping up on us very slowly in the water, kept looking over my shoulder. And there was an electric eel that was as big as a city bus.
Really?
Coming right for me. You could see the electricity shooting off of its body as it. I
feel like I would have noticed that if that were the case, but okay, go for it.
Maybe that didn't happen.
Okay.
No, but seriously. Yeah, and it was a big anaconda. It was, I mean, I kind of guessed that it was like 7 feet or whatever. It was bigger than that. But we missed it the first time. It swam under a rock. And when we think about anacondas and anaconda habitat, we're so used to seeing these videos of just never-ending grasslands like in Venezuela where people are tromping up to their waist in mud looking for this big snake that's right in front. It wasn't like that at all. That was not the habitat of that we were in. We were in rocky shore, like a rocky outcropping in a river.
Giant boulders.
Boulders, and they were in the boulders, in the river. And so it was really difficult. Once they go into those rocks, it's really difficult to get them out. And so it took me three attempts to get them out. And I did. And the rest you'll see in the video. It was a big anaconda.
Yeah, it was.
I mean, we got to get you guys to watch the videos. We can't really kind of tell all before you watch the videos because that would be like spoilers. That would be like, you know, me coming on here and saying that Darth Vader is is Luke's dad, and that's a spoiler because, well, I guess everybody knows that. That's probably
or that Bruce Willis is a ghost. That's
right.
Yeah,
it's an advertisement, not a spoiler.
Advertiser.
So
that's what Zelda said.
So anyway, we got that snake. But here's the thing about this trip. Usually when you go to the Amazon, you are seeing a ton of stuff. Like you are seeing
that monkey.
There's a monkey, right?
Look at that picture of a monkey that my camera took.
That is why
from far away.
That monkey was so far away.
Hey,
this was really far away.
This is really far away. But here's the deal, Amy. Were you shooting on 8K when you did that?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. So much for the techie talk. Tammy Schmidt, yes, but not by the big dude. So there's a little spoiler alert that there might be.
There you go.
Another one.
Here's one that I can show because it's already on. I already put it up on Facebook. Here's a little caiman.
Oh yeah,
that was
that's a cute little dude.
That's such a cute little guy. That caiman we found in a mud puddle that probably used to be a pond, but the pond was quickly drying up. So Dave jumped over and grabbed that caiman, and we took pictures and video with it, and then we walked it maybe quarter mile, half mile, something like that, over to an actual pond to get him into some water because I don't know what he was going to do in the middle of a mud puddle.
He would dry. Well, he'd probably walk away, but the chances of him finding where we released him was probably not very good.
Right, exactly.
He would have been hanging out in that dry area. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. Just hang on.
Okay.
While Dave steps away, couple comments. Jason, my snakes are behind me, not in my lap, because I am participating, producing, and moderating a live stream right now. I can't be distracted by those snakes. Also, where was it? Brian, yes, the four of us are already planning our next trip together.
Oh, for sure we are.
We had a wonderful time as travel companions, and we definitely would all love to do that again.
It was, I mean, it's sickening to sit here and gush about it, but I will tell you that the four of us as travel partners, it was a perfect, I was calling it lightning in a bottle. It was just a perfect scenario of everybody just getting along and making each other laugh, and we just slip into this familiarity with each other that's fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, like we all knew each other forever.
That's exactly it.
The first second.
That is exactly right. Like in Florida, when we all met in Miami for a day before we went down to Suriname, and we went out looking for giant pythons in the Everglades. We're not going to say if we found those or not, but on that boat ride down in the Everglades is when we went from this to this, and it stuck the entire trip, and it was just awesome. Yeah,
it was great. So we will be traveling, the four of us, again.
100% we will.
And it's, you know, I think that I'm the only one who's the common denominator. Like I was friends with.
You mean the common factor?
The common factor. Thank you, Amy, math professor. You know, because I was friends with Amy Benzie, Amy Bentley, and Dave. Dave and I have only hung out though at shows. Really, we've done some bits on camera together, which work well, but we've never really spent time hanging out other than a dinner here and there.
That's true.
So anyway, it was fantastic. Here, I'll
thank you, Bob. Thank you for our new friendships.
Oh yeah. Amy Benzie always thanks me for putting Amy Bentley and Dave in her life, and yes, that's totally on me. That's any good things that happened from this trip. It's because of me.
That's right, Bob.
I'll accept that.
Look at this. That's not really a spoiler because we go there for these green snakes, these emerald tree boas,
green anacondas.
Those, that tiny green anaconda. Let's see. I'm not going to put. I just loaded a bunch of pictures up. Here's the first snake
haven't
that
seen these photos yet.
significantly bit Amy Bentley. So Amy Bentley,
That snake. I
Amy
got bit
Bentley
by that.
has a number of snakes. How many snakes do you have, Amy?
6.
But they're all ball pythons, so you've never been bit by a snake before because you have ball pythons. And we talked about the fact that you would definitely get bit on this trip. And this beautiful Amazon tree boa, or what they call cooks in Suriname, the locals call them cooks, was super spicy and made your arm bloody. Did it hurt real bad?
So bad. I cried. I needed medical evacuation.
No, but say for real, because there's a lot of people on here that don't know what it's like to get bit by a snake. So
well, especially Amazon tree boa.
Yes. Yeah.
It did not hurt at all. Oh, it scared me. And when it bit me, I said, ow, just out of reflex. But it didn't actually hurt at all.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Where are you going?
I looked so cool, though, you guys. Holding this snake with blood dripping down my awesome tattoo.
It did look, yes, your T-Rex tattoo was bloody, which was cool.
Wait a minute. Now, here's something that I didn't consider between the four of us. How many of us actually drew blood on this trip? Just me and Amy.
So many times.
Oh, you did from the car crash, not
Yes.
crash, but
And
I fell so many times.
You drew first blood.
Yeah. I didn't even want to talk about that.
He fell while he was getting water for the coffee before we went out that late night, and he fell and slid down the granite into the water.
Right. And Amy
but
laughed.
The first fall was with the snake hook.
Laughing.
What's that, Amy?
The first fall was when you were getting the spaghetti out of the tree.
The spaghetti
on the snake with
the first phone.
Oh yeah, the phone, right?
Yeah.
Getting
the snake out of the tree, that was an intentional drop. Like I fell intentionally to get to to reach into the water. That'll be shown in my video. And then, but yeah, so I then was just getting water at the edge of the water and slipped on the rocks and went like I slipped backwards. So my whole, like, if this is the front of my body, I just went boom, like that fast. It wasn't like a stumble or anything. It was just slip. And when I landed on the rocks, I just slid into the water. So not only did I fall and like re-injure my knees and my elbow that had already been injured, I like slowly slid into the water and I couldn't do anything about it. I just had to. It was the worst.
Well, I wasn't down there, but I was in my hammock, and Amy comes running up to camp, running through her first aid kit. Bob fell in the water.
Yeah, she was the camp medic.
Yeah,
when Bob fell, he was holding
a
pot of water, so it just made the biggest ruckus in the middle of the night.
Yeah, because the pot slammed onto the rocks, so everybody knew. It was like a gong going off. Everybody knew that something loud happened, and it was probably me. That was crazy.
And then I got nailed by an anaconda.
Well, your worst injury was your shoes.
No, my worst injury was hooking my thumb.
Hooking his own thumb with his own fish hook.
Yeah.
Well, that was gone in like 2 days. The shoes things wasn't.
Yeah, the shoe thing is still bothering. I mean, my feet are still blistered up to this day.
Right. That you took that fish hook really good. That was amazing.
Well, thank you.
I'd have died.
But I caught a fish this big.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we would have noticed if it was that big.
No, that's about. It doesn't even fit on this frame. And then I took the hook out, and the fish just shook his head just perfectly for the hooks to fly out, jam in my thumb, and I mean it was embedded. And then a little piece of that same hook was through the skin of the fish, and so I'm like holding the hook in my hand, trying to hold the fish with one hand so that he didn't, if he shook, he would literally rip the thumb like off, completely off. Or he just would have made the boo-boo a little bit more boo-boo-y.
Yeah.
But Mikey, one of the guys that was with us, had to come and literally cut the skin of the fish, take the fish away, and then there's a string trick that you do to get a hook out, where you wrap the string around the barb. Like a barb was embedded in my under my skin, like in my meat of my thumb. You wrap that line around and you pull taut to push the barb in, and then you pull out. I couldn't do it with my left hand. We had to go back to camp. Amy is filming all of this. And then Mark came out, and I asked him if he knew the string trick. He said yes. He just grabs the hook by the pliers and just says, yeah, I know how to do this trick. And I wasn't even ready for it, which is exactly how you should have done that. But then the hook flies from my thumb into his hand.
So they just traded hooks.
We just
now
traded
Mark.
hooks.
Now
And
Mark's
It looked
got
like a
hook in his
magic
hand.
trick.
Right. And he then had to cut the hook and then pull it out the other way. And we're bleeding all over the boat. We're getting blood all over the fish. And so what do you do when that happens? You instinctively stick your hand in the water and start washing the blood off your hand. So Mark starts doing that too. Mark looks at me. He's like, this is not a good idea. So we pull our hand out of the water. Becky,
Mark's wife,
our amazing camp cook, sees what we're doing, and she's fishing over like maybe 20 feet away. She comes over and fishes right where we were washing our hands, pulls out 2 piranhas.
Yep.
So yeah, that wasn't a good idea.
Piranhas are really good at smelling blood.
Yeah. And if I would have probably stuck my hand in there again, I would have looked like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
Which is not a great look.
It's not, because I picked my nose with that finger.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was a crazy day.
Do you guys want to see giant river otters? How about this? Look at those guys.
Oh my God.
They were so cute.
He really says that.
They were so cute.
They're so big. They were like, I know they're called giant river otters, but they were bigger than I thought they were going to be.
They're like water monkeys. I mean, really,
they're very large.
They're big. I can't even.
I think he wants to go home.
They're big.
You want to go
They're
home?
very,
now?
very large, and they make very silly noises.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Yeah.
And I'm so pissed that I did not have this phone down there. I had the iPhone. My like here. This is the head right here. Like in my shots.
Yeah.
Like that small.
Yeah. The good phone the good phone was the way to go for those. Amy sent me a better photo, but I haven't opened it yet, so I can't share it. But those river otters were cuter, I would say, than this toad, which was also very cute.
But not cuter than you, Bob.
Not cuter than me. You're right, Amy. Thank you for saying that. Anyway, I went through like 5 minutes before I went live on this live stream. I went, oh, people are going to want to see pictures. I better just throw a bunch in. So I threw a bunch in, and that's what we got. So, by the way, also, if anybody has super chatted, I haven't been looking at the chats, but we're going to go back.
I have 3.
Okay,
You
great.
have 3 super chats.
Amy's keeping track.
Now would
go
be the
back and
time
get
to
those.
super chat.
I see Clint at Black Box Cages is in. Hi, Clint. I'm just back to the chat really quick. Oh, Tarantula Collective's in. Cool. Hi,
Tarantula Collective. Is that Richard guy?
That Richard guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
He wishes. He wishes that he had a beard like yours.
He's got a great beard. He's got a red beard.
He does have. He's an epic dude. I love Richard.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so do you guys have any other stories that you want to tell about this trip?
I'm scared to talk. Spoil something.
And you should be, Amy Benzie. You absolutely should be.
You guys, I ended up being the camp medic for all of these people.
Don't tell
saved
my
all
part
of their
though.
lives multiple times.
We would be dead if it wasn't for you.
It's so true.
Multiple times over.
Yes.
That's
each of
true.
us. Each of us.
Yeah,
Each
in
of
one
you.
day,
And
each of us got medical
what-
treatment.
And what happened when I got fish slapped? Y'all just laughed.
We laughed for days.
We laughed, and we still do because it was hilarious.
Boom.
So first, before Amy tells the actual story, I will say that before we went out the first night, I told Amy, I said, here's what's going to happen. We're going to be in the boat. It's going to be quiet. And all of a sudden, a fish is going to jump out of the water and slap you in the face, and it's going to make your glasses go askew. Like I was joking, but I was predicting it because it is a possibility. The fish just
Bob and I
into the
each
boat.
got that.
Yes, we've
We
all
each
been
got
hit
it
by
last trip.
fish.
Yeah.
We've all been hit by fish. So, Amy, what happened after I made that prediction?
So we were out really, really late. We were headed back to our camp, and I was tired and my back hurt because we'd been out sitting on the boat for a while. So I laid down and I was looking up at the stars, which were beautiful, by the way. And out of nowhere, this big old fish jumps into the boat and lands right on my glasses. And you can't tell very much now, but it cut both sides. My glasses cut both sides of my nose.
It caused
And
her an
everybody
injury
was
for sure.
And when we're out there, we're looking for snakes, but we're also hunting for our food. So we're not like having a good raucous time or anything on the boat. We're very quiet. And so when one of these fish jumps into the boat, it jumps into the boat and then it makes like a flip-floppy sound on the bottom of the boat. So this fish hits me on the face and then lands in the bottom of the boat and flops around. And I go, oh my gosh. And everybody goes, we got one. And I was like, it hit me. And I was like, I think my nose is bleeding.
But we were happy that we got a keeper. And by the way, here's the title of the movie from Azara. This is brilliant.
Fish
Amy
slap
number
Boogaloo.
2 and the fish slap Boogaloo.
Yes.
So when that happens, that constantly fish are jumping in the boat. And
Yeah.
so we're keeping two types of fish. We're keeping the fish that we can eat, and we're keeping the fish that we can use as bait to catch other fish that we can eat.
Fish
And then
bait.
the ones kind of in the middle get chucked off the side. But it's very startling when you're super quiet in the boat and like it's 2:00 in the morning and nobody said a word, and then all of a sudden a big fish jumps in and you just hear flap 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 flap. It's
I like how Amy did it.
yeah.
And then I named it.
And it
Yeah,
really
you
hurt.
did, Dave. But it's a
Toast?
family show. It's a family show. Yeah, that was great. So Amy got fish slapped. It was
I
brilliant.
did. I got fish slapped and everybody laughed and nobody gave me medical assistance.
That's
Well,
not true.
I mean, I feel like
We gave you love.
I did
feel like
this,
We
the
gave
love
you
that
all
we
our
gave.
love.
I
Thank
did this
you.
interpretive dance to try to heal you.
There you go.
I didn't see.
You might not
I
have
didn't
seen
see any interpretive dance.
You may have thought that I was having a seizure, but that's not what was going on.
That's what happened. And I laughed, which is healing. Laughter is healing.
Healing.
It's maybe not be healing to the person that's being laughed at, but it was healing to me. And so at least there was some sort of healing going on when Amy got fish slapped.
Yeah, you
So.
gave me a really nice I told you so moment when you were like, I told you you'd get hit in
It
the
was-
face with a fish.
I just
Knock
felt like
your
a psychic.
glasses.
I totally called. That's exactly what happened. Your glasses went askew. I didn't say that you would get hurt, but anyway, Amy, we're
Here's
all glad that you recovered from that injury.
Yes.
And I am glad that you all recovered from your very multiple injuries.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But seriously, like no bite marks left. But here's the thing that people have to understand is that we aren't just down the road from a town that has a hospital, that has a doctor, that has a whatever. We are 8 hours by boat down the river in the middle of the Amazon wilderness.
Right.
And if we got back to the town, that town doesn't even have a doctor.
Mhm.
So if something serious really happened to us out there, it would be 8 hours back to the village and then another 10-hour drive to a medical facility, and so we are really on our own out there. And I think that is kind of something that not a lot of people take into consideration when they think about, I mean, if those piranhas really did attack me, I have fishing line to sew myself up with. The point that I'm making is that we have to take care of each other when we're out there.
Right.
And we have to watch
Amy has to take care of us.
Yes,
What's
we have
that?
to rely on Amy Bentley to take
Amy
care
Bentley,
of us.
right.
Yes.
And that's where I was going with that. If Amy Bentley didn't bring her doctor's kit, things could have gotten bad out there.
Mm-hmm.
It really
My
could have.
wonderful, lovely mother-in-law
Yeah.
is a nurse.
Thank you,
and
mother-in-law.
she was like, here's a couple of extra things to add to your first aid kit just in case. And I used every single one of them to save all of your lives.
Every one of us used something in there.
We
So,
appreciate you
Thank
and
you,
your
Nana.
mother-in-law.
We love you. And
Thank
few
you.
of us would be here without you.
That's right.
Thank you.
That's right. I have the same first aid kit, which is fortified by a good friend of mine who's a physician, with extra medical things like antibiotics and stuff. But we didn't crack mine at all, because not only do you have a nice first aid kit, Amy, you know what's in it and how to use it, which I maybe should have some knowledge about what's in my first aid kit, because I don't really look at it. Anyway, glad you were there for us.
The only thing that I brought in my first aid kit was deodorant,
which we appreciate, Dave.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. I didn't plan very well for that.
Yeah. All right. So,
my sister is asking me to give her credit for always being my medic when we go on trips together, because I learned most of my medical field knowledge from my sister saving my life. So,
Katie, thanks for keeping Amy alive.
That must have been after she stopped biting you.
Yeah. After she stopped biting me, and after I've saved her life multiple times with the Heimlich maneuver, because she doesn't know how to chew cantaloupe. I have outed you on the internet.
Okay. Sorry, Katie.
Anyways, back to our regularly scheduled live stream.
We love Katie. She's the best. Hang on, I'm trying to find. I just want to get to some of these super chats while you guys are sitting here. We might as well.
Oh, while you're doing that, I think I saw that somebody had an unrelated Dave question.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know. I thought I saw it back there, but it kind of grabbed my attention.
Well, there actually is a couple Patreon questions that I want to get to before I get rid of you guys.
Of course.
Because there's a couple things that are for you and I, Dave.
Oh, okay.
So when I do these live streams, Dave, I have Patreon send me questions for the Q&A, and
I see.
And then Amy Bentley prints me out a whole
compiles
the list, and I print them out. So there are a couple things for us, but let me get to a couple of these super chats. Joe, thanks for the super chat. Are hognose snakes worse eaters than ball pythons? I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
Babies, maybe.
Yeah, getting them started.
I had a lot of trouble getting hognose babies started. There's a little trouble getting ball python babies started, but ball python babies, I think, are easier to get started than hognose snakes.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, I only know from hearing stories.
And Amy's upside down again.
Yeah, she is. It's just how she does stuff. She just does.
So you guys are aware, this behavior from Amy is pretty constant and very normal.
It's just normal. She's
always upside
keep going.
down.
We just let her do her thing. Yeah. Here's from Richard. Dave, you are quite the teller of tall tales. Love it.
Why, thank you, Redbeard the Tarantula Pirate.
Yeah. Thanks for that super chat. Did you see any?
Wait a minute, Richard. Everything that I've said here is true.
Well, maybe slightly exaggerated. There were a few things that I wasn't able to confirm based on my experience. Well, probably could deny a few of those things. But did we see tarantulas?
Dave's fish that he caught was this big.
Dave did catch
it did feed It did feed 11 people for 2 days.
For 2
It
days.
was
Yeah,
really
it was
fat. It was
big
fat and
fish.
juicy
It was
It,
big.
it was a great fish. Yeah.
and
Dave
delicious.
got.
Thank you, Dave, for providing for us.
I am.
So here's the thing. Dave got content for all of his channels, tons of content for all of his channels. And his food channel, I've been on his food channel now several times, and we did a bunch of food reviews. And we had
Oh
a
my God,
blast
you guys
doing
are
them.
gonna love it.
Yeah, we
It was
did.
incredible.
We do fun stuff as food reviewers.
I'm
It's a good
editing
time.
the one from Paramaribo now, and that'll be up on Sunday.
Cool. We had a good time doing those.
Yeah, we had a good time.
Richard's asking if we saw any tarantulas. You know, I wanted to see tarantulas, but we
I did
didn't.
too.
We saw some other spiders that were the size of freaking tarantulas, which was terrifying, but they weren't tarantulas. For some reason, to me, a tarantula is less scary than like a shiny spider without hair that's also that big. That's super frightening to me.
Right. I agree. We saw a marine toad about that big. This is no exaggeration. Sitting next to a fishing spider that was about that big. I mean, just the biggest fishing spider I've ever seen. And literally, it was sitting this close to a marine toad. They were sitting in the same direction on the same log, like they were best friends. Like we came along and interrupted like the most philosophical toad spider conversation ever in the history of the Amazon. They were just sitting there just like that. It was the coolest thing, actually.
You know what, Dave? I have footage of 2 different situations like that. I have 2, and it's going to be in my video that's coming out. There are 2 situations that we came across where a toad was sitting next to a fishing spider. Why do they? They're friends.
That is the most epic friendship in the animal kingdom.
I wonder if they eat the same thing.
I'm sure they eat each other.
I bet the toad would eat the spider.
It didn't even look interested. That's the whole point. I sat there and thought, okay, that spider's toast. No,
I wonder if it moved, like if it moved in front of the toad, if it would get eaten. But yeah, it's crazy. It's a cool thing. Off-Road Crazy 82 is going to read this later when they look at the live stream. My lunch break is over. Have to get back to it. Have a good stream and night, Bob. Have a good night, Dave. That's very nice. Thanks for the super chat.
And good night to the Amy's.
And good night to the Amy's too.
He forgot the Amy's.
Oh my gosh. Amy Bentley, your husband has super chatted.
Yep.
Hi, Brady.
That's
You've
my
been
cute
fish
husband.
slapped. New phrase at this house.
You've been fish slapped.
Brady.
Okay. You know the scene in Nacho Libre where he slaps the plate of corn? He goes, "Get that corn out of my face."
Yeah, which we were doing
After
a
I got
lot.
fish slapped for the whole rest of the trip. I said it like 40 times a day. I'd be like, "Get that fish out of my face."
Yeah,
Just
that's right.
over and over. I couldn't stop saying it. It was just coming out all the time.
True. Hi, Brady. I'm glad you're watching the live stream. Of course you're watching the live stream.
Hi, Brady.
Brady's the best. Kaylin Duffy, thanks for the super chat. Sending my love from Alaska. I love Alaska.
I want to go to Alaska big time.
So beautiful up there.
I went to my first reptile expo last weekend.
I'm very excited. Thanks for being so awesome. Oh, that's so nice. Not even a question. That's cool that you're heading to your first reptile show.
Which one are you going to? Oh, you can't. It's not like that. You can't like talk.
It's not like that. It's not like that. But maybe she can answer and maybe we'll see it. I wanted to know what part of Alaska you're in, but okay. Did we cover all the super chats? I believe we did, but if we didn't, somebody let me know.
We got all of the super chats. Dave, Tyler Lovell would like to know how you get your hair so lovely and luscious. And also, are you Canadian or American?
I live in Minnesota, so I'm a hybrid
Canadian.
between Canadian and American. Yeah, that's what that's all about. And he also asked, did we lick the toad?
A blow dryer.
That's
A blow dryer. That's how.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back to the hair question. Yes, I do often blow dry my hair. I don't know.
Dave,
it's just here. Yeah.
So Dave, here's one of my Patreon questions. This is from Ian. He says, my question is for both you and Dave. if you could pick one other reptile YouTuber to go on a herping trip with, and it has to be someone you haven't been away with before, who would you pick and where would you go? I'm going to go first. I want to go on a trip with Clint.
Yeah, Clint.
And
I've
I would
lots of trips with him.
Yeah, I know you can't pick him. I would like to go to either Southeast Asia or Australia with Clint, just so that I can learn the phylogeny of every animal we find.
And he would tell you.
Yeah.
This is absolutely what I love about Clint. It's not that he is the nicest guy in the world. It's not that he's so caring and generous. It's that every time Clint opens his mouth, I learn something.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the guy. All right, so a YouTuber that I have not traveled with that I would like to, is that the question?
Mm-hmm. And where
Gary
would you go?
Spano.
Gary would be really cool to travel with.
Gary would be fun to hang out with.
Would be awesome to travel with.
He's a funny guy.
Come on, Gary.
There's so many. I mean, I just don't know that I can like pick one out of a hat and say that's the guy. Blake from Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch. We've been talking about a trip. We haven't traveled yet together. I've just visited him at his facility. So Blake, let's pick Blake.
Cool. Where would you go?
He wanted to go to Fiji.
Fun.
So I always wanted to find the Fiji Island iguanas. And so it's a long way away to find, like one really cool reptile and then a bunch of little ground-dwelling lizards that nobody's heard about. So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Right. Yeah. Cool. There was another one, I think, that had you in it. Let me just see if I can find it. Here's the thing. I printed these out, and for some reason it printed small. So I got to put on my glasses.
Casey asks if I ever traveled with Emily and Ed.
Glasses.
Not like internationally, but all over Minnesota and Wisconsin and Illinois. I think we may have gone down to Iowa once.
I love Ed and Emily.
Oh,
I didn't think about them because they don't do videos from around the world. They're not doing like travel videos. Yeah. But they're super fun people, and I think a lot of people wonder if they are like that. If they are the way they present themselves on camera. Everybody wants to know that. Like, is this person actually how they present themselves? Ed and Emily definitely are. There is no difference between them on camera and them in real life and standing in front of you.
Yep.
Dave isn't, you guys. Dave's not the same person off camera.
Dave punches people a lot.
Don't even get me started.
Unprovoked, which is really weird. Yeah.
Don't even get me started.
It's not nice.
That's not true, people.
I don't know where this other question was. That was.
There's a question about Amy's snakes, but I think that's the only question about Dave.
That's what it was. Somebody was asking if I've ever seen Amy's snakes in person, and I haven't, but we are planning a trip to
my snakes.
Yes, your snakes. Amy Bentley's snakes I've seen in person many times, and about half of them I've produced, or more than half of them I've produced. So, but Amy,
half of them.
Amy Benzie has Amazon basin tree boas, and she has the coolest setup that you've ever seen for any reptile. And that's a big thing to say, but I'm telling you, go to Happy Basins on Instagram and check out her setup. It's insane.
Thanks, Bob.
And
Thanks.
she just got an upgrade. So we are going to go there. The four of us might end up there. I'm
going to go there to film for sure.
Yeah.
And catch a big alligator gar.
Yeah. So
and go see our American alligators.
Oh, and the alligator, right?
Yeah, there's a lot to do.
So much to do.
So I'm excited to see
wakeboarding.
snakes in person. And then there was another question from Tamsin Hawkins asking, which is your favorite Amy? And
we're samesies. We're total samesies. You can't. There's no distinguishness.
Well, here's the thing, Amy B.
Except in the tone.
My favorite Amy is Amy Winehouse, and she's dead, which makes me sad. Thanks for bringing that up, Tamsin. Thanks for bringing everything down because she's no longer with us. But if we're talking about between the two Amy B's, there you can't choose. You just have to thank your lucky stars that the Amy B's are in your life. If they're in your
100%.
life, that is that's
I
that
will
between those two.
drink more vodka to that.
Nice. You really got a big glass of vodka there.
I'm gonna get some vodka too.
Bob,
Good idea, Amy.
Kaylin Duffy has responded with a second super chat about where they are located in Alaska.
Oh, there it is. There it is right there.
Oh,
I'm in Wasilla, an hour north of Anchorage. Okay. It's called the All Alaskan Reptile and Exotics Expo. Thanks for super chatting that response to
How big is that expo? I wonder.
There's a lot of Alaskans, I think, that keep reptiles, and there can't be too many expos. Kaylin, give us a report after you go. Give me a...
Might be an excuse for me to finally get to Alaska.
To get to Alaska. Alaska is one of my favorite places to be. It's so beautiful.
Let's go.
My uncle lives in Alaska.
One of my best girlfriends lives there.
What are we doing? Let's all go to the airport right now.
Oh, let's go.
Right now.
I went to Alaska in December.
But it's March.
Yeah.
So let's go.
Okay.
Can I just say, without giving a spoiler, because I'm just thinking about it now, wait till you guys see the intro to Dave's Tinley Park video, which is coming out when, Dave? When's it come out? Saturday. I've already seen it. It's so good.
So good.
Make sure you watch. Make sure you guys.
The hardest thing I've done all month is having to wait till Saturday to post that video on my Facebook.
Yeah, I know. It's great. It's the best intro. Okay.
It turned out really well. I mean, I'm quite pleased with it.
You should be very proud. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You guys, do you have any other stories to tell before we get to the just standard part of this live stream, which is me just answering all these Patreon questions and snake shenanigans?
I just want to say that in all my travels, I have never gone to a place like Apora, which is the small village that we spent a lot of time in.
Mark and Becky.
Yeah, the people that live in this village were the most welcoming people that I've ever met anywhere in the world. And they didn't just make you feel welcome. They made you feel like you were family, like you were part of the community. And I've never experienced that anywhere. And that is really what made this special. And the people that we were with from Apora out in the jungle, I mean, we were a tight little group of family of 11 people that we was just this tight little group of family, like from the minute we left Apora to the moment we got back and then some.
Yeah.
I remember when the moment you said that, you said we came here strangers.
Yeah.
And now less than a week later, we're family.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It was a very, very special
group.
And amazing.
Thank you, Mark, Becky, Kenny.
Yeah, those people are amazing. I want to respond to this question really quick.
Joan,
Swish Zors,
bitch.
We did rescue some snakes, but not from poachers. There are no poachers there. And the reason I want to address this is because I want to make it clear that it's not illegal in Suriname to catch snakes and then export them. They're doing it totally legally. And when we go out and save these snakes, we're basically just taking some individuals and that would have been exported. We're either catching them in an area that hunters often
where they're very vulnerable.
They're very vulnerable, and we're moving them to a less vulnerable area. Or sometimes we'll buy snakes from a hunter or from a middleman or something and bring them back and release them. We're just helping out those individual snakes, but none of those people are doing anything illegal. It's not poaching. It's a legal thing, and it's how they make money. There's not many ways to make money when you live in a third world country. So these are all, it's all on the up and up.
Yep.
Yes, we did. We saved some snakes.
Suriname, third world.
Let's see, Bill. Thanks for the super chat, Bill. My black-headed python has occasional seizure-like shakes that are aggressive. Other than that, he is normal. Any advice? Wow. I've never heard of that before. Dave, have you?
The snake is obviously male, and the snake wants a female.
Is that what you are you being serious?
I'm being very
That's what my
serious.
king snakes do that.
Right.
They'll have a seizure?
Well, I assume he's talking about a jerking motion. And that's what males do when they either want or encounter a female.
Okay.
So I don't have enough information on.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
but-
I was guessing that it's like flipping around and whatever. I was
Oh,
thinking
and that's-
something more
that's-
aggressive than that, but
if that's what the snake is doing, that's a horrible problem, and please get him to the vet immediately.
yeah, that's what I was going to say too. Is a vet,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if it's that jerky motion, I always think of like hognose snakes do that jerky thing. When when a male and a female are put together, there'll be this jerky thing. Yeah. But if it's more than
Can
that,
I say something?
yeah.
Oh, are you done with that question? Sorry.
I was just going to say, if it's more than that, definitely get him to a vet. But thanks for the super chat. Okay, now done.
Suriname is a developing country, not a third world country, just so in case people were interested in the facts.
True. Thanks for saying that. I say third world country, and that's erroneous for me. It's a developing country for sure.
Developing.
Yeah, good catch.
For sure. I don't have a clear definition in my head of what the difference is between those two, and I should learn that because I think I've said third world country before for Suriname, and it's definitely not. They are a developing country. Here's a Dave question. Azara, the Dave question was if you had any opinions on the Driftness Region National Park proposal in southeast Minnesota. You know anything about that, Dave?
The Driftless Region National Park. I don't know anything about this, and I hope it's not true. A national park down there would destroy it and cause so much traffic to a very pristine and beautiful part of Minnesota. I'm gonna have to look into that.
So even though you don't know anything about it, you definitely have opinions about it.
Right.
So there we go.
That place. That's the place I want to take you for all the snakes because it's in southeast Minnesota along the Mississippi. So all the snakes from that are generally in the south, they kind of ride the Mississippi up, and it's in that little area of Minnesota that those snakes enter Minnesota. And there's like 3 counties down there where we've got black rat snakes and we've got racers and ringnecks and stuff that isn't found in greater Minnesota. It's only found in like 3 counties down there, and that's why that place is so special. And nobody knows about it. Nobody, even Minnesotans don't know about it. And if they open a national park down there, that means more roads, that means improved roads, that means improved habitat. They're going to destroy it. So I'm not really happy about that.
Is that where the garter snakes are? Where that big cluster of
Oh no, that's up in
snakes?
Winnipeg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna have to look into that. I have not heard of. I've obviously been out of the loop for a while, so I have not heard a proposal about that. Yeah.
Michael, thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you have a question. A lot of times
he has a second super chat with a question attached.
Oh, he does? Oh, cool. Well, thanks for that first one. And here's the second one. Hey, everyone from Louisiana, South Louisiana, LOL. Okay, there we go. Louisiana. Hey, Michael. Thanks for that super chat.
We got some good old Cajun food down there in Louisiana.
Oh, man, I love Louisiana food.
Me too.
So
Let's
good.
go to Louisiana. Alaska, then Louisiana.
Then Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right next to each other. We can make that in one trip.
Jen says, speaking of Tenley, which of the 4 of you are coming in October?
All of us.
Hopefully.
It's the plan. It's the plan. Tenley in October is a plan for all of us. And man, that'd be fun. All right.
Then Chicago.
What's that?
Oh,
That's
Tinley's
Chicago.
That's always in Chicago.
In Chicago, yeah.
Suburb.
I guess I can go there.
The same place where you just were. They just do it twice a year.
I see.
All right. So here's what we're going to do, because I got to get back to the regular live stream stuff.
We're going to miss you, Bob.
I'm going to miss you guys.
Bye, Bob.
I already miss you all so much.
Let's see, Hog Stricters. I will make it to the Anaheim Super Show if I'm not already out of town. I don't know what date that is, but I always go if I'm there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to remove you guys. Thank you so much, Dave, Amy, and Amy, for being here. This was so fun.
Our pleasure. Love you guys.
You guys are the best. All right. See you all.
I'll wait for our next adventure.
Bye, everybody. All right. Those guys are great. That was fun. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. That was fantastic. So Amy Bentley is going to stick around because she is the one who texts me, just in case you guys don't know. You've seen some of my live streams. I get texts occasionally telling me that I've missed a super chat. That's Amy Bentley. It's this Amy right here. that texts me. So sorry, Amy. I just took you out again. So she's going to stick around, and Amy, maybe wave at me if you want to say something. Wave at me, and maybe I can just add you to the stage like that.
Can you see me?
Because I can see you.
You can see me. Okay, so cool. If you miss a super chat, I'll just be like,
yeah. All right. So here we go. Let's get to some questions. I'm going to take my headphones off, which could be problematic because then if I do bring Amy back on, I'm not going to be able to hear her. But you know what? I'll put the headphones back on. Oh, let's get a snake. How about that? Let me grab a snake and then we'll get to these questions. Hold on. I think Maya was out earlier. Let me see if she still is. She is. Okay. You guys, I have snakes with upgraded cages, and it makes me so happy, especially to have Maya in an upgraded cage. She's in a big cage now, and she still comes out every day when I'm home and roams the house, but it's so nice to have her in a big cage that she's got plenty of room to roam around. And she has a sky hide in that cage too that I didn't mean to have in there, but I installed it in her cage thinking that I was installing it in Stella's new cage. And then I realized, oh man, this is the wrong cage. I'll just leave it in there. But she uses the sky hide all the time. She loves it. So I'm glad that it's there. Okay. So we got the black-headed python out. And I'm going to start on some of these questions. Here we go. You know what? What I do with my glasses. There they are. Okay, here we go. Robin asks, where/who did you get Echo and Stella from? Echo and Stella are my super dwarf reticulated pythons. Echo is 50% Karompa, 25% Kalatoa, and some other stuff. And Stella is 100% Kalatoa. I got Echo from Garrett at Reach Out Reptiles, who I highly recommend if you're looking for a high quality super dwarf reticulated python where you will be told the truth about their locality and their history and such like that. I got Stella at a show, and I bought Stella from a breeder that I don't want to promote. So Stella is an awesome snake, and I love her so much. She's one of my favorite snakes in the world. But this particular breeder, I learned some things about after the fact, and don't want to say who that was. Even don't want to get into that. So that's that. I love both of those snakes. I recommend Super Dwarf Free Ticks. They're so cool. I love them. All right, here we go. Amber has a couple questions. What clutches are currently cooking? None right now. I don't have any clutches in the incubator, but I've got some snakes working on clutches. And what is the name of the video you are most excited about that you have planned for this year? You know, that's making a lot of assumptions about how far in advance I plan videos because a lot of times it's week to week. So the name of the video that I'm most excited about is Green Room Python's video that goes viral and gets 1 million subscribers to subscribe. That's the name of the video. And I hope it works. All right. Chris asks, have you lost Pip or any other snake in your glorious beard yet? Pip is my little tiny pygmy python, which I'll show you later after Maya's back. And I have not lost any of those snakes in my beard. A lot of snakes don't, they tend to stay away from my beard. And I don't know if it's the feeling of the beard, which it totally could be. Because I do find that when I put snakes on grass and they haven't been on grass before, they don't really like it. Their body kind of reacts strangely to the grass. And I think my beard is kind of like that. But it also could be the beard oil that I use. They might not like that. But I do have some snakes that'll crawl through my beard. They don't get lost in it, though. Amy Benzie is obsessed with putting lizards in my beard that we find in the jungle. And she really wanted to put one in my beard on our last trip 6 months ago. And I didn't let her. And then this trip, she really wanted to, but we didn't catch any that were small enough to put in my beard. She tried to put a snake in my beard. And it sort of worked and it sort of didn't. But there's that. Okay. So now we're on to general snake questions. There are a lot of questions from people with regard to heating snake enclosures. So we're going to talk about that a lot. Everybody that asks questions has a slightly different scenario. So we're going to get into that in a minute as soon as I read Sherry's super chat. Thanks for the super chat, Sherry. Hi, we had a banana inchy clown shed and it had no visible pattern / color. Thought that was only with hypo. Heard black light show pattern on bells too. Yes, black lights do show patterns sometimes on blue-eyed leucistics or any kind of leucistic. You can potentially see pattern, not always, if you use the right type of black light. And yeah, sheds are a little weird. Sometimes you get pattern and sometimes they're I don't know specific thing or what the deal is. Okay. Thanks for that super chat, though. All right, Sammy and Anthony ask, when opening up a ReptiChip block, do you have to soak the whole block or can you just do it in sections at a time? Yeah, you don't have to. Sometimes I'll soak a whole block. Sometimes I'll soak a portion of the block. And sometimes I'll take a dry block and all I do is if I feel like I need dry chip, I take a screwdriver and just wedge it in there and break chips off with the screwdriver and then break it up with my hand. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. Can you use a heating mat in a wooden enclosure? I wouldn't want to use, I don't want to use a glass tank and I'm not a fan of overhead heat lamps. I'm not a fan of overhead heat lamps either. I am a fan of overhead heat though. Just don't use a lamp. You can use a deep heat projector. You can use a CHE. You can use a radiant heat panel. There's a number of ways that you can heat from above that work great that is not a light source. So that's my recommendation. You can use a heat pad on a wooden enclosure if the wood is thin enough. And most wooden enclosures don't have thin enough wood because you want it on the outside of the enclosure and it doesn't necessarily heat all the way through. So it just depends on the thickness of the wood. Maya, why are you choking me? Why are you choking me out, young lady? Here's a super chat from New Smithsonian. I like that name. Why are snakes so popular versus other exotics? Well, I think a couple of reasons. I mean, I think that, any kind of reptile has its group of people who love them, but I think snakes are really popular because, number one, I think it has to do with the fact that many people are afraid of snakes. So I think there's a lot of people. Whoops, I got the wrong end here. I think that many people are attracted to that there's people that are afraid of this animal, so they want one because it makes them seem edgy. That's a thing. But also just the fact that they are so different. I mean, I'm attracted to reptiles because they're so different than us. We're mammals. We're very different than reptiles. And lizards at least have legs, right? Snakes are the most different from us than anything else that I can think of. And their behavior is fascinating. But also, just on a practical thing, I don't have lizards right now because I go on tour, and that's how I make my money, is by going out of town. I'm out of town a lot, traveling. And if I had lizards, I would need them to be fed every day. And snakes don't need to be fed every day. So I can leave for a weekend or even a week at a time, and the snakes do just fine. So in a practical sense, they're very simple to take care of once you know how to do it. But there's a lot of knowledge that you have to do it right, you know. But once you know how to do it right, once you know how to dial in those parameters, and you know how to feed them, and you know what their body condition should be and stuff like that, they're a really simple animal to take care of. Great question. Thanks for that super chat. Okay. Stacy says, I see a lot of debate on deep penetrating heat versus using heat pad for snakes. Which one is better? Yeah, I don't know that there's much debate about it. A deep heat projector is much better. I would just say that flat out is better. Deep heat projector gives you a different spectrum of heat. Belly heat just provides heat for the animal to digest. And that's important. You got to have heat for the animal to digest. But if you can give them other spectrums from above, that's a better situation, in my opinion. And then, will deep penetrating heat get through the hide to a shy snake that doesn't come out very often? Yes, I think so. I don't use deep heat projectors. I have heat panels, but I believe it will. But the other, the other thing is when you're heating, I've said this before, when you've got a heat panel or anything that's heating the warm side and you have a hide there, inside the hide might not be quite as warm. Maybe it's 86 or 88 or something. That's fine for a warm side for a ball python. Maybe the outside is 90 and the inside of the hide is 86 or something like that. But also, eventually that hide is going to warm up. It's just going to take longer to warm up than outside the hide. So it's fine. It's going to be fine. You don't have to have it exactly at 90. I think 90 degrees is on the warm end, especially if we're talking about ball pythons. They say 80 on the cool side, 90 on the warm side. Most of my ball pythons are not at 90. They're at 86 or 88. Some are at 90 just because that's what the heat's doing, but they all do just fine with that. Okay, there's a couple super chats that I'm not missing because I just saw them. Hang on, let me find them again. All right, Xturlex84. Check out the Reptile Barn. He runs a show in Alaska. Yes, Reptile Barn is great. I've seen those videos. He's a super nice guy, and he breeds ball pythons in Alaska and maybe others, but the videos that I've seen are ball pythons. He's great. He's, I think, in Anchorage or somewhere around there. Jason, thanks for the super chat. Hi, all. Love this group format. Oh, that's great. Thank you for that. That's a really nice thing to say. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I love the chat in these. I always go the next day. I go back and I rewatch the live stream and I read the chat. And I love that it's people asking questions and other people helping folks. And it's great. Really cool community. Logan, thanks for the super chat. how long do you think the stream's going to go tonight? You ready for it to be over? It's going to go a while. It's, I started at 5. We had about 45 minutes of extra content that I normally don't have in these live streams. And we still have a bunch of these Patreon questions to get to, and snake shenanigans. It's going to go a while. I think my record for a live stream is 3 hours, which is nuts. But I don't know. Maybe this one will go 3 hours. I don't know. But I'm getting good at getting through these Patreon questions. Here we go. Anyway, thanks, Logan, for that super chat. Appreciate that. All right, Chaos Keeper says, my question is also a heating question. Let's see. Recently purchased 25-watt fixture. Okay, hold on. Hang on. Let me just read through this, and then I'll summarize. Okay, so purchased an enclosure. I've got Maya slipping into my shirt right now. She is. Oh, right here. Slipping into my shirt. All right. So we'll see how that plays itself out. My guess is that she'll just go out of my shirt and onto the ground. Okay, let's get to this question. Where are we at? All right. So heating with a CHE. The plan is for the hide to be on a slate slab on top, with a slate slab on top and the CHE above. Okay. What is my heating goal? Inside the hide, the slate surface, or ambient? I know the temperature goal, but where is that? Is what I'm confused about. Okay. So you're planning to go hide, slate rock, heat. You could go slate rock, hide, heat. The slate rock could be either on top of the hide or on the bottom of the hide. But same thing that I just mentioned. Generally, if you're going 90, if you can take your heat gun and shoot 90 degrees on the slate, it's going to be fine inside the hide. Maybe it's even 85 in the hide. That's fine. The inspector here, he's 85, and so there's 2 hides here. There's one on top and one on bottom. He stays in the bottom hide. That's about 85 all the time. He digests over there at 85. It's not a problem at all. So just, take your heat gun, and as long as you're somewhere 85, 86, 87, 88, 90, all that stuff, your snake is probably not going to come out and bask on the rock. But the cool thing about slate rock is, especially if it's below, now I haven't done this, but I believe this is how it works. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, if it doesn't work like this, but I believe that slate rock will heat up. Let's say you have a big piece of slate rock and half of it is covered with the hide. You've got your heat source heating that rock. The entire rock is going to heat up, including where the hide is sitting. So they're going to end up kind of with belly heat just from that rock, which is cool. And then if you have the rock on top of the hide, it's the same principle. It's just going to heat from above, So let me take care of Maya here, who has slipped all the way through my shirt and onto the ground as predicted. But I don't want her roaming the house right now. So give me just a moment. Put her back. All right. Say goodbye to Maya. There she goes. She's so pretty. All right. Be right back. I got super chats. I'll get to them in a second. All right. Here we go. Hi, Taylor. Glad you're here. Welcome. Okay. Just wanted to say hi to Taylor real quick. Let's get up to the... Okay, so that was the last one. We got Michael. Thanks for the super chat. Hey, have you finished all the Patreon questions? And I live in south of Lafayette. Oh, cool. I like Lafayette. No, Patreon. I'm on the Patreon questions right now. We're just getting into them. I got 3 pages of them. So if you have one on here, I will get to it. Joe, thanks for the super chat. Where do you get the radiant heat panel? Set up a PVC enclosure last month and could only find ones for chickens. Oh, I use heat tape and ceramic instead. You can get them. Try Reptile Basics. I think you can get a heat panel on Reptile Basics. My heat panels all come installed. I get my enclosures from Black Box Cages, which I highly recommend. And I have a discount code for them, which, what's the discount code? Somebody put it in the chat. I think it's GRP for green room pythons, but I totally could be wrong. I don't know it off the top of my head. Anyway, Black Box Cages, you just choose what you want and they'll put it in for you. So mine come pre-installed with Radiant Heat Panel. Casey, thanks for the super chat. Thank you, Bob, for the hairdryer tip. My ball python hadn't eaten since October and just did with it. She was healthy otherwise. Love your channel. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad that worked for you. That's a good trick for snakes. Heat up that head with a hairdryer and do it right next to the enclosure. So the scent goes into the enclosure. The snake comes out hunting, and you then offer a frozen thawed meal. Usually a snake that's in food mode will strike without asking questions. And so you don't get the refusals as much with frozen thawed. Okay, back to the Patreon questions. Here we go. Where are we even at with these? Found it. Okay, I know where we're at. Linda says, I know others have asked this question, but I'm also wanting to upgrade my Pikachu's enclosure from glass to PVC, but I'm concerned about the heating. He loves his hide over the heat mat. When switching to PVC, they say no heat mat. It seems that using an overhead heat emitter would not be enough to penetrate through the hide. Currently, I use a heat mat and heat emitter. Thank you. Sounds like you had a fantastic trip. I did. Thanks. So glass enclosures don't heat very well. They don't retain heat very well. So oftentimes you do need the underside heat and the overhead heat. PVC enclosures retain heat very well. And you don't need a heat mat. And also heat thin, which I want them to be kind of sturdy. You won't need the heat mat. You know, you'll have your overhead heat. And again, the inside the hide might be a few degrees less than your 90 degrees outside the hide. That's totally okay. Not a problem. So, but yeah, don't, and also, you know, it's hard to tell if your snake loves the heat mat with his hide. Your snake probably loves the hide because of the security, but whether there's belly heat on it or not, that's just whether it helps him to digest. And if your heat is at 86 degrees inside the warm side hide, they'll digest just fine. And they'll still love the hide because it provides security, which is a ball python's number one thing that they're looking for is security. They want to be hidden, you know, not 24 hours, but when they want to hide, they want to be hidden. Thanks, Amy, for that. Use discount code GRP for 5% off Black Box Cages. GRP. That's the discount code. Okay. Bug and Pop says, you suggest the temp directly on top of the mat would be 90 degrees. What temp should it be on top of the substrate, and how deep would you recommend the substrate be? Hang on, I'm looking at some additional details that Amy put. Okay, so the heat mat doesn't heat through substrate well. And so anytime I have a under, a heat mat situation or a heat tape situation, I'm pulling the substrate off of that. So I'm putting that at 90 or 88 or whatever I want the heat to be on that heat mat. And then I'm not piling substrate on top of it, because what's going to happen is it's not going to heat through the substrate, for one thing. And if I keep cranking my heat up to try and get heat through the substrate, the snake's just going to move that substrate and they could end up on a too hot surface. So what you do in this case is if you're using a heat mat, you put it at 90 on the surface, the glass or the plastic or whatever it is that you're heating, move the substrate off of there, and then let the snake sit directly on that temperature. Raymond, thanks for the super chat. Do you have a question that goes with it? I appreciate that. That's really nice. Throw a question in the chat if you have one, and I will see it, or Amy will see it, and I'll get it answered. Thanks for that. Okay, another one from Bug and Pop. Our ball python is currently 2.5 feet long. Is it too soon to transfer to a 4x2x2? You can put a brand new baby in a 4x2x2 if they're confident enough. It just depends on the snake's personality. Just make sure that they have enough security, 2 hides on each side, 1 hide on each side, and, stuff to hide around. And then it just depends on how that particular snake feels about it. How can you tell how old your ball python is? You ask the breeder and or the person you bought it from, and if they can't tell you, there's really not a way to tell. You can look at the size of a very small snake and say, oh, this is probably a baby, or it could be a malnourished older snake. But really, really difficult to tell with snakes. You just have to hopefully get the information from the person that you got it from. How do I know if it's a healthy weight? Is there a weight to length ratio? No, not really. Or is it mostly just a visual cue? It's a visual cue. There are charts online most of them are pretty good, that show body conditions. And it's good to be aware of the body condition of a snake that's too fat and the body condition of a snake that's too thin. And then if you're somewhere in between there, it'll be good. I mean, just look up the charts. The ball, put in ball python body condition chart or something like that in Google, and you'll find them. They're usually pretty good. Abes, thanks for the super chat. Abes, I would love to make it to Retic Fest this year, and I'm going to try to. I need to look at the dates again and make sure that I'm not otherwise occupied. Last year, Retic Fest, I was in the Amazon jungle. It was 6 or 7 months ago, and that's where I was during that, so I couldn't make it. And it depends on the dates. If I can make the dates work, I'll be there, because I really want to go. I love Garrett, and I love what he does over there, and I really want to come to Retic Fest and meet all the people and play with Garrett's snakes. He's got so many cool snakes, and I want to handle them all. Especially that big one, the big retic that they built the enclosure for. I forget her name, but the big giant one. Oh, hi, Amy. Hang on. Hold on. Hi, Amy. Let me put my headphones on so I can hear you.
You finally paid attention to me.
What?
I said you finally paid attention to me. I've only been trying to get your attention for a while now.
Oh, really? Sorry about that.
Yeah,
what did I miss?
Raymond Reynolds, who sent you a super chat without a message, said that it's for the Scotch Fund, buddy. Been watching for a while and appreciate what you do.
Oh my gosh, Raymond, thank you so much. That's really nice. And Amy, thank you for alerting me to that.
You are welcome. Also, you need a snake co-host.
Okay, I will grab a snake co-host. Thanks for that. And just let it be said that you were waving your arms like Kermit the Frog does when he's introducing somebody. Yeah. It was all about that. I don't know how long you've been doing that for, but I finally noticed it, and I hope your arms aren't tired.
They are so tired. You never pay attention to me.
Bye, Amy. Thanks for that, Scotch Fund. Here, I threatened to show you the tiniest python in the world, and I will make good on my threat. Oh my goodness, look at this little girl. She's so cute. Here's Pip. For those of you asking how Pip is, she is a pygmy python. For those who don't know, she's a pygmy python, and she is less than a year old. I don't know how old she is. She's what, 7, 8 months, something like that. She's so cute. You know what we'll do? We'll put her in. Look at this. Hang on. I got an idea. Let's put her in her little. There we go. Let's put her in this. This is her little Pip-sized playpen that she goes in. Hang on, give me a minute. So I can't really put her in an actual playpen because she still will get lost. I mean, maybe not, but it's just, I need something that will sort of keep her contained. So this is a display case that you would use for a, I don't know, a trophy or a action figure or something. And she gets to cruise around. I change it up sometimes for her, put different things in there. But that wood I've kept in there for a while because she's used to the wood. I don't want to give her a completely different situation. But anyway. How do I, hold on. There we go. Oh, you can't really see her though, right? Like I've got to have it full screen for you to even see what she's up to there. Hang on, look at this. Try to give you guys a good shot of her. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if you can see her moving around. But what I'll do is I'll flip back and forth. When she's doing something interesting, we'll get back onto that thing. I'll keep an eye on her. Okay. Oh, so now that she's in there, now I can actually have another snake co-host. Let's, who do I have? Hang on, let me see. How about this lady? How about Miss Kata? She's fun. And she's looking a little pink. She's going into shed. Just starting her shed process. She likes to back up. She's the only snake that I have. Maybe you guys have snakes that back up when you put them on your shoulders. Kata is super sweet, but she's not very comfortable with hanging out. She would much prefer to be on her own. And when I first usually put her on my shoulders, she backs up. Okay. Where are we at? All right. Donald says, you've often talked about radiant heat panels for your PVC enclosures. Do you use them for the basking spot as well? Yeah, because I have, the basking spot it's just 90 on the warm end and 80 on the cool end, or maybe 88 on the warm end and 80 on the cool end, or 78 or whatever. And the basking spot would just be wherever they decide to hang out. Now with my retics and with my black-headed python and with my boa, who's in that cage down there that the light's off, they have a shelf. So their basking spot is a little bit higher up and closer to the heat panel. But they rarely use it. You know, it's just, I feel like it's more about, for those snakes, it's more about the ambient temps, which side of the cage they want to be on. If a snake is flighty, runs away every time you go to get them out, do you still grab them so they get used to handling? I haven't been because I don't want to stress him out, but I'm worried he'll associate me with needing to run away if I get him that way. Yeah, that's a good thought. He's still a baby, 8 months old corn snake. Yeah, well, corn snakes are a little bit flighty, but you can use the techniques that I talk about in snake socialization videos. Those will work with corn snakes as well. It might take a little bit longer, but you're right in that if you just go in and grab the snake and force it to hang out with you, they're going to associate you with stress. So there are other things that you can do that's not handling. You know, you can get a snake used to you without grabbing it. And I talk about that in a lot of videos. But for baby ball pythons, what I do is I just have them check out my hand. They can come up to my hand without me grabbing them or doing anything. And I let them tongue flick on it. And then I close their enclosure and let them go. So they have these, you know, positive experiences, or at least neutral experiences that weren't scary, that they associate the smell of my hand with. And that's what you want to do. That's the way to do it. Grabbing them all the time will definitely make them associate you with a stressful event that they don't like. So, all right. So Paul says, I just had a ball python regurgitate 6 days after he ate. I have 9 snakes. Most are 2 years old, and this hasn't happened to me before. His hot spot is fine. I use belly heat. He hasn't seemed stressed in the 2 years I had him. How concerned should I be at this point? You know, I'm going to switch cameras because we got Pip cruising around. You know, Paul, I wouldn't be too concerned at this point. The concern would come when, you know, if the snake continues to regurgitate. You know, you're going to give him 2 weeks at least before you feed them again. And then if they continue to regurgitate, that's when you take them to a vet. But this could have just been a bad rat, or maybe they were taking too long to digest and it was starting to go bad in their belly. So they felt like they were more comfortable regurgitating than continuing to digest. So probably not a huge deal at this point. Let's see if that look at that. What if we do that? I'm learning how to use this software, you guys. I'm figuring it out. Now we can watch Pip and me at the same time. And Kata. Look at Kata's little face. How cute is she? All right. Michelle says urine weighs around 550 grams. He's currently eating a weaned rat every 7 days. My question is, when should I move up to a small rat? About now. And when do you start spacing feeding out to every 14 days? About now. There are lots of charts out there. I just want to make sure I'm doing everything right. So, you know, I've talked about this before, that keep in mind that in the wild, snakes are going to eat when they find food, and they're going to eat whatever size they happen to find, and they do just fine. So we try to give an ideal situation for snakes, and we use these charts and everything else. But in reality, the snakes don't care about the charts. So, but to answer your specific questions, I think, you know, a small rat is different depending on, like, the size of what a small rat is might be different based on what your supplier is. But generally, a snake that's, I don't know, 400 grams, let's say 400 to 450, could start taking small rats, especially if it's the smaller. Like if you have a bag of them, you maybe start them with the smaller ones in the bag. They're a little bit bigger than a weaned rat, and you know, you go with that. So your snake is ready for smalls. And you know, anytime when a snake starts on small rats, that's usually when I start spacing them out. Maybe I'll space them out to every 10 days, and then I move to 14 days a little bit later. But your snake's good for that. They can definitely eat every 2 weeks at this point if you wanted to do it. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. BB says, hope you had a nice time with your travels. We have 2 unnecessarily long questions. Okay. Let me read through these really quick and I will paraphrase. So they're using really useful boxes, which are great. Those are in the UK. They're hard to find in the US, but I've found some, and those are great to use as bins for snakes. They have custom dividers. Okay, so they're saying, so there's custom dividers for the young snakes. They're saying we're pretty sure the snakes must still be able to smell one another, and therefore we are inadvertently stressing them out in the same way cohabitation would. No, because they're not cohabitating. Definitely in a snake room, snakes can smell each other. That's not the issue. Cohabitation is when the snakes physically have to jostle for the hot spot, or they have to actually share resources. So that's cohabitation. If they can just smell each other, it's not a big deal. They do just fine. I have snakes in racks, and they can definitely smell each other. Not a problem. It's just when they have to physically live in the space. So where are we at? There's another question here. Okay. And then we have an 850 gram albino. We've only had him for a few weeks. He strikes okay, but it's not as samurai as we would have expected. So he's not striking his food very well. He also seems to explore using his head in the same way as a visually impaired person might use a cane. We're aware albinism causes sight issues in humans, so was wondering if snakes get a raw deal with that too. Do we potentially have a blind snake? You probably don't have a blind snake, but yes, albinism, snakes that are born albino don't see as well, just like just about any animal that's born albino, or person maybe also. I'm not sure if that's true, but I'm guessing. But no, the snake is probably not blind. And keep in mind that the sight for a ball python and for most snakes is not the key sense that that they use to figure out what's going on in their world. Kata, I got to get you off my hat, babe. You are definitely too big for this hat. So that tongue flick that you see snakes do all the time is their main sense. That's what they use really to figure out what's happening. Their eyesight is helpful, but it's not their main thing. So your snake is probably not blind, and their strike will probably get better. There are actual blind snakes and snakes that are born without eyes, and we find that they strike their prey just as well as a non-sighted snake because they're using those heat pits and they're using their tongue, the Jacobson's organ, and they do just fine. So, yeah, so your snake is probably fine, but may have a slight vision impairment because of the albinism. It's possible. All right, Spencer from the Royals Project, our new sponsor that's coming up in future videos. Snake breeding question. You're also probably going to see Spencer on the channel this year because I think he's coming down for a visit at some point, which would be cool. All right, snake breeding question. What are the questions you ask yourself that help you decide what snakes to pair? Good question. The question that I ask myself is, who is this girl's boyfriend? Because as some of you know, I oftentimes have one-to-one pairings. So I have a female and I've purchased a male to go with that female. So is that the most efficient way to do things? No, it's not. But I'm not a snake breeding operation as much as I am a keeper of snakes that I love. And so I'm not doing everything as strategically as I possibly could. But the question is good from Spencer, and it has to do with what do you want to create, in fact, I like Lydia Dietz, who's a clown pied. I started off the season pairing her. I paired her with Bear last year, who was a pied clown. And that's how we got Kodiak, which I had in the beginning of this episode, my clown pied boy. And then this year I decided to pair her with Captain Feral, who is a pied, possibly het ultramel, het hypo, leopard, Enchi. I don't remember. I think that's it. But hey, why are you so head shy? So anyway, I paired her with Captain Feral for a while, and then I decided to go back to Bear. So she's actually in with Bear right now. And I thought, I kind of do want to get Clown Pieds again this year. So we'll see who, when she lays a clutch of eggs, we'll see who hatches out. Because it's just about who you want. What do you want to see out of those eggs? And I think I'm putting Kata back right now, by the way. She doesn't want to hang out with me. Yeah, Silvermander, I agree with you. Pip usually doesn't do the glass surfing, but she is. I actually haven't had her in here for a long time because this is her first time in this thing since baby. It's her first time in that playpen since before I went to the jungle. So, hang on. So she usually doesn't do that glass surfing as much. She crawls around the wood and everything. But I think, you know what, she's also I'm trying to get this to focus on her. Maybe it won't. Sorry, guys. Anyway, she's going to eat tonight. So she's also looking for food. And she is a very good eater. She's not a snake that, you know, I can handle her and then I could put her in her cage and offer her food right away and she'd still eat it, I think. But she'll get food shortly after we end this live stream. So I'm going to put her back. I love that snake. She's so cool. Very tiny. She doesn't scratch the big snake itch. If you really want a big snake, it's not the snake to get. But man, her brain, her personality, she's great. I like her a lot. Where am I at here? Let's get, you know what? Let's have, hang on. Since we have this camera available, let's use it. Hold on a second. Here's the brightest of snakes in the green room. This is Max. He's getting big. He's the inspector's son. And Lucille's. And I think what we'll do is, hang on. There we go. Oh, you know what? Let's just let Max cruise around and see what he wants to do. While I find another question. Oh, I'm on to another page, you guys. Here we go. Troy says, I'm curious if snake mites jump or fly. I saw a little bug inside my enclosure, none on my snake, thank goodness. No, probably what you saw was a springtail or maybe a gnat. They definitely don't fly, and I don't think they jump, but somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think snake mites are mostly crawlers. I have not dealt with snake mites in a very long time, knock on wood, fortunately. But but I don't think they're jumpers. Somebody that's dealt with them recently, confirm for me if you would in the chat. And then Troy also says, what's the best way to move your snake into a new enclosure? Here's Max coming back out. He's checking out his stuff. The best way to move your snake into a new enclosure, most people just set up the new enclosure and then they put their snake in it. But I like to, take the snake out of their old enclosure and show them the new one and let them crawl in themselves. Like let them do their own exploring, because to them, it's not a new enclosure. It's just a new area for them to explore and see if there's any dangers or anything like that. Anywhere a snake is that's new, even if it's still in your house, still in the same room that they were in, they don't have that spatial recognition. So any new surface that they're on, there could be predators. And so that's why they're tentative a lot of times to go into a new environment. And if you just take your snake and dump them into that new environment, there's going to be a stressful period of time where they go, oh my gosh, where am I? It's new. Are there predators? What's going on? Whereas if you can hold them in front of the cage and let them slowly do their thing, they go, this is a new area. There might be predators around. Let me tongue flick a little bit. Okay, it seems safe. Let me crawl in there. It just seems like a better, less stressful way for the snake to go. So that's, I'm just going to move this camera slightly so that we see if Max decides to come out. So that's how I do it. And then Troy also asks, when did your pied start to develop their beard? I think pied beard is when the pied ball pythons tend to go dark under their chin. They get this sort of dark beard. And I think it starts to happen at about a year, but I don't know that I've really noticed enough, like taken note of their age when it starts to come in. I think it's about a year, though. That's another thing. If you want to put it in the chat, if you have a better answer than that, let us know. I think at about a year old, they start to get their beard. You know what we could do? Let's look at Kodiak. He's not quite a year old. Let's see if he has a beard. We'll just do a little test right now. Hang on. Hey, pal. He was up and out still. Kodiak. Well, I mean, he kind of does. So hold on a second. So Kodiak's got some coloration on the side of his head that kind of looks like pied beard. You see that? But it doesn't quite. Can I see your head for a second, pal? I mean, he's got some marks under there. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. So his is coming in, is starting to come in. How old is Kodiak? 8 months or something, maybe? He's less than a year. That's gray on the side of it. But I think he's always had that bit of pattern. It's under his chin that we're looking at. Can I see your face one more time, pal? Oh, sorry. All right, we won't freak you out. There we go. So under that chin is going to be all gray probably eventually. All right, putting him back. Pied beard. Taylor, thanks for the super chat. Taylor says, sending love from the soggy menagerie here. Oh, it's raining. Lots of rain. Here's a little something for the Scotch, for you and rats and snakes. I hope your trip was amazing. Thanks, Taylor. That's really nice. I appreciate that. The trip was amazing. It was my last trip to the jungle 6 months ago was the trip of a lifetime. And this trip to the jungle topped it. It was incredible. Okay. We're almost at the end of the Patreon questions, you guys. This is not bad. We're doing okay on time. This will not be a 3-hour live stream. Okay. So Tamsin, we already answered the who's your favorite Amy question earlier. She's asking, how's Kata's Clutch doing? Other people ask that as well. Those of you on Patreon know about Kata's Clutch, but nobody else does. So we're not talking about Kata's Clutch today. There will be a video that will come out about that clutch. And if you're curious to find out about this crazy clutch that I'm talking about, join up on Patreon and you'll be able to get the update. You'll be able to see what's happening. And then I'll have a video out in probably a couple weeks that's specifically about that clutch. I tell you what, though, I'll give you one little peek that's not even a spoiler about the clutch itself, but this is probably my holdback. This little snake. Let me get my face out of the way so it... Dang it, hang on. There you go. This little shy snake, so pretty. Look at that head stamp. Why is it Orange Dream? We didn't have an Orange Dream in the mix. There's a lot about this clutch that is a big question mark. But look how pretty that little freeway girl is. Probably holding that one back. All right. No other information will be given about that clutch. If you're on Patreon, I'll maybe make a video in the next couple days to give you an update. And then Tamsin is also asking, do you have any Ren Fair performing plans for the summer months? Yes. So many. I'll be up in Oregon for a few weeks doing shows. I'll be in Washington for 5 weeks doing shows. This is like July, August, September. Oh, look at Max. I will be in... Oops, wrong. Hang on. I'll be in Tulare County, California in a couple weeks, or in a few weeks, I think, doing shows. So yeah, this is my normal touring time, summer, and I've taken less gigs than I have in years past. And it's because of the channel. The channel allows me to do that. And if I take less gigs, I can make videos instead. So, but I'm still doing a lot this summer. So if you're in Seattle or Oregon, you can come see me. I'll be there for a number of weeks. Okay. So where else? We got a few questions left. Tara says, I have to know. I can't stand not knowing. This is important. What's your favorite ice cream? And do you put it on top of pie and whipped cream? Yeah. Whipped cream. Yeah. I like whipped cream, but it's not my favorite thing. Like I don't always look forward to it. And I enjoy ice cream, but you know what? Just a good vanilla. I'm happy with vanilla. Although I ate Baskin Robbins the other day and I had like pralines and cream. I like ice cream. I eat all kinds of ice cream. And it's good. That's another thing in the jungle when we go, especially with Amy Benzie. She's an ice cream freak and she always has to have it. And so we have ice cream, which you would think that you wouldn't be able to get good ice cream in Suriname, but they have there's one brand that is in all the stores and it's very good. It's really good ice cream. So we have it on hand all the time, as long as we have freezers available. Once we go deep in the jungle, we obviously don't, but if we're in Paramaribo or Apura, that's it. New Smithsonian, thanks for the super chat. Boa versus Super Dwarf Retic for beginner. Well, as I always say, if you're a beginner, you just do as much research as you possibly can, and become an expert in the species that you choose. But I would say, and also boa, the word boa could mean a number of things. If we're talking about a boa imperator versus a super dwarf retic, I think a boa imperator might be easier to handle. However, depending on the super dwarf retic that you get, they're great too. It's whatever you want. I don't think it makes a big enough difference as far as the behavior or the care or anything. It's more about you research those two and you figure out which one you like, and it's going to be fine. There's not a wildly different thing where I'm going to say, oh, well, a retic is really tough to take care of versus a boa is really easy, or, oh, a boa will light you up versus a retic is going to be really nice. It's not like that at all. They both have similar temperaments. They're both very food motivated, and they're both pretty easy to take care of as long as you know what you're doing. And if we're talking about a true super dwarf, and we're talking about a boa imperator, the size is not a huge difference. Your retic's going to be longer and thinner, and the boa is going to be shorter and fatter, but they'll both be a pretty sizable snake, So the good news is get what you want. That's cool, right? Okay. All right. B says, have you ever gotten to interact with Amy's? Oh, we already talked about that I have not interacted with Amy Benzie's boas in person, but Dave and I both want to do videos at her place. Her Instagram is mesmerizing. Yes, it is. Happy Basins on Instagram. Go follow that because it's great. Did Max just yawn? Did I see that out of the corner of my eye? Somebody put in the comments if Max just yawned. It doesn't matter, I guess. It's just cute when a snake yawns, right? Okay, where else are we? Oh, B also says, any arboreal snakes on your dream list? Yeah. My dream list is very long, but I love arboreal snakes. Watching a snake climb a rope or a branch or anything is the coolest. So I love a mangrove snake. I love boas. I love the emerald tree boas. I love an Amazon tree boa. I love carpet pythons, which are semi-arboreal. So many things. Thanks for confirming that, Amy. Max yawned. Yeah, Sean, tree boas. They're cool. They are cool. I'll tell you, I had never really been a fan of the Amazon tree boa. I call them angry shoelaces because they're long and thin and they're always biting. But when I find them in the wild, like we find more Amazon tree boas than any other species when we're out there. And they are so variable in their patterns and colors. And the babies are highly colored up and then they brown out if they're not going to be a colored one, which there's plenty of colored ones out there in the wild. But they're just fascinating. And they do bite, but it's not a problem. Like it doesn't hurt. It's nothing. It draws blood, but their teeth are so small and sharp that when it goes in you, you don't really feel it. But what cool snakes. I don't know that I would keep one as a pet still, but I love finding them in the wild, and I love playing with them. And in fact, let's bring Amy Bentley back on stage for a moment to talk about these Amazon tree boas. And well, hi, Amy. Hang on a second.
Hi.
Let's stop that camera. There we go. Where did my headphones go? Because I want to hear you. So you made friends with an Amazon tree boa. You made friends with a couple Amazon tree boas.
Yeah, I did.
And where did that one ride all day long from morning to night?
Well, the first day he rode on my glasses, and he was very cranky when I pulled him out of that bag the first day. Well, because we caught him in the evening the night before, and then when I woke up the next day, I pulled him out of the bag, and he was very bitey, and he was a little itty bitty guy.
Like
and the
3
babies
months
are-
old. 3 months
Yeah,
old,
the
probably.
babies are pretty long, but they're really skinny. And when they bite, it doesn't even break the skin. They're so ferocious, but they should have been born with bigger teeth.
Yeah.
And so once he calmed down, I was holding him like this. I think I was actually holding him like this. I think he was perched on my finger, and he crawled up and settled himself on my glasses. So, can confirm, baby Amazon tree boas love the glasses just as much as, we like to share those pictures in the Discord server.
That was his
snakes
perch.
perched on our glasses.
That was his perch all
For a
day.
whole day.
You went and did laundry. You did all kinds of stuff.
I did laundry with that snake on my glasses. Now it's really hot in the middle of the day, and I was doing laundry in the middle of the day. So I got my hat wet, my big floppy hat, and I had him up under my big floppy hat, and it was super adorable. And then the second day,
no, wait
he
a
just
second.
hung out.
We're talking about Charles, right? Because Jen here is saying, tell us about Charles.
Yes, this is Charles.
You named him Charles. Okay.
I did. I named him Charles. The second day, he just hung out on my shirt. I was wearing a tank top, and he just perched himself with his little face. His body was in my shirt, and his little face was out of my shirt. Yeah. He was so cute.
That was great. Were you sad when you released him?
Yes, I was.
Yeah.
He was so cute.
Yeah, he was cute. He climbed up a vine. All right. Thanks for that. Thanks for that little story, Amy.
You're so welcome.
See you later.
Bye.
Let's get this. Hang on. I want to get this camera going one more time. There we go. Boom. Look at Max. He's checking things out. Petro de Braza, thanks for the super chat. Is it possible to own snakes without ever taking a food bite? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you have ball pythons. I'd love a big snake or ETB, but the idea of truly brutal food bites someday scares me. Yeah. So yes, many people own snakes and or keep snakes and have never taken a food bite. But honestly, it's really not a big deal. Even a food bite, which is they bite, they hang on and wrap, is generally not a big deal. If we're not talking about a massive snake, it feels like a pinch. You just don't feel the teeth. It feels like a pinch, and you just have to get them off your arm eventually. They'll either let go on their own, or you can use water. I have little ski used in ages because I don't have any snakes that it will still bite me. In fact, Maya, my black-headed python, bit me the other day. Yesterday she did, and she went like she saw my arm, and I haven't been holding her for I don't know how my camera works, and she went like that, about that hard, didn't even break skin, and then just let go. She was just like, I think I've made a mistake here, I'll reset. And then she let go, and it was just a little food bite. She was just testing to make sure that I wasn't a rodent, So yeah, unless we're talking about a giant retic or a giant Burmese python or something, a food bite is really not a problem, even though it is frightening. It happens fast and it's startling, but that's the worst part of it. So let's just do this so you can see what Max is up to. And where are we at? We're almost done with these. Hold on. What did I do with my glasses? Here's another. I have so many pairs of glasses all over the house. You guys, here, let me just say this before Here's what happened about a year and a half ago. I started going blind, and I was so scared. I've always had better than 20/20 vision, and all of a sudden I couldn't read stuff. And I was like, I think like my vision is going so bad. I think I'm going to be blind in like a year. And I'm envisioning all these things that I'm going to have to do to like be able to manage my life as a blind person. And I went to the eye doctor, and she was like, you still have better than 20/20 vision. You just need reading glasses. And I don't understand how that could be a thing, that my vision is still better than 20/20, but I need reading glasses. But anyway, apparently I trust her. Apparently I'm not going blind, but it feels like I am sometimes. All right, let's get back to Max and these questions. Hey, buddy, will you go back, please? That's just me. That's just me pushing you back. Come here. There you go. Okay. CNC Python Factory says, not directly trip related, but what did you need to do to prepare for the trip? And what do you need to do after you come back from the trip? I'm referring to things such as maybe a specific shot that you need to take or some type of medication that you might have to take prophylactically. That's a great question. If you're thinking about going on one of these trips, by the way, Amy Benzie is the one that arranges these trips. I have thought about potentially putting together a trip for Patreon supporters. We can't do a ton of people at a time, but I think I could take like 4 if people wanted to. We're talking about it. But it's as far as the prep, first of all, there's a gear list of things that you have to buy. So there is the cost of the trip, but then there's the cost of the gear that I bought on the first trip. So I had it all for the second one. But then there's a series of shots that you need. Like you've got to get yellow fever. Rabies is a good one to get. Your Hep A and B. If you're not up on that, you should re-up on those. So there's a series of shots, and that is an expense also. And again, I did it 6 months ago, so I didn't have to do it again for the second trip because I'm already all set with regard to that. And then on the first trip, I brought malaria pills with me. Those are expensive, and my insurance doesn't cover them. So I paid for malaria pills, brought them with me, and was told about the first day that in that area of Suriname, they don't have malaria. So it was unnecessary. Really that when you go to Suriname, like there's a lot of stuff in the Amazon jungle that you hear about that's super dangerous, like ticks with, I think ticks that carry yellow fever maybe, or something else. I can't remember. They don't really have those. They do have ticks. I pulled several off of me, but they're not really carrying diseases. They don't have mosquitoes that are carrying malaria. And it's just not as frightening as the stories that you hear. The Amazon jungle is such a huge area that not every section of the jungle is the same. So you do have sections that have like terrible parasites in the water that you've got to stay away from. Suriname doesn't have that. So, it's, this particular trip is pretty easy with regard to that. And, so anyway, if you're on Patreon and you want to take a trip with me to Suriname, maybe we'll put that together. I'm thinking about it. It's not an easy trip. There are parts of the trip that are kind of miserable. Like when you end up in a van for 17 hours and you thought it was going to be 6 to 8 hours, stuff like that. But it's also the greatest adventure I've ever been on. Hang on, let me see if this text is anything. It's Amy saying that I need a snake co-host. Did you just text me that, Amy? Yes, she did. I see her thumbs up. It's true. I do need a snake co-host. Who do you guys want to see? Put it in the chat. Who would you like to see? Okay, and then while you're putting that in the chat, let me answer the last question. This is from Ian. Oh, I answered it already. That was the one for Dave and I, and we already took care of it. So we're done with those questions. Okay. Handsome Dan, Erica, I would love to show you Handsome Dan, but he's in shed right now. And Jen Molly is still with Captain Farrell at the moment. Oh, and she's in deep shed. Oh my gosh. I put Captain Farrell in yesterday and didn't notice that Molly was in shed. She's in deep shed right now. They did lock up, but they're currently not locked. So I'm going to remove him tonight. And all right. So what else do we have? Miss Maggie, we had Maya out earlier as a co-host. Damara, all of these snakes are unavailable. Damara is also in shed and currently with, you know what we'll do? How about this? How about this compromise? I've had the inspector in with Damara for the last couple days. Damara's in pretty deep shed at the moment, so I'm pulling the inspector out to put him back. And oh, look at that. There's a pink belly too. He's just starting his shed. Also, here's one that is rarely a co-host. The inspector. Oh, Tara is asking for little Miss B. I'll show you B. Everybody's saying Pip. I had her out earlier. So if you rewatch the live stream, you'll see Pip because she was out. She was cruising around her little thing. Here is the detective inspector. Right here. He's got the bump on his nose. It's very evident when I put it on the camera. I don't think it's any worse, though, than it's been. I have considered getting surgery for him on this bump, but it's not really gotten worse in the last, I would say, year. And sometimes I try to see if it bothers him, but he's head shy anyway. I've never been able to get the inspector to not be head shy. And okay, I'm actually rubbing the bump right now, and it doesn't seem to be bothering him. So anyway, it's good to give him a little checkup when I pull him out. It's, you know, the reason he's not often a co-host is he's hard to get to in this bioactive enclosure. He's usually down 2 levels of hides. I got to pull the hides out. It's not like just opening a cage and grabbing a snake. So anyway, there he goes. And let's take a look at B. So this little girl has finally eaten on her own once. She has not done it since. And, you know, she shows interest in food, and it's about once a month or once every month and a half she gets interested in food. And so I'm hoping that when I offer her food, I might offer her tonight actually, or tomorrow, that she'll be interested enough to try to take it again on her own. But she's got this little deformity. If I can turn her head, you can see her mouth is open a little bit on that side. That's the lazy jaw. And I assist fed this snake for 1.5 years before she finally took a meal on her own. And I was very excited about it. We're actually going to talk about that in an upcoming video, but you guys are hearing it here first. But she has not taken a meal since. So we'll see. I don't want to assist feed her anymore, though, because she's shown me that she knows how to acquire a meal, and assist feeding is stressful for snakes. And I'd rather not put her through the stress of it. If I know that she knows how to do it, you know. Hold on one second. Okay. Let's get, okay. Hang on. So Azara, this is an idea that we can do. I can get Jenny Craig. She's available. Brian, I would love to get Echo, but she is in shed right now. Okay. I just realized that I still had my headphones on from last time I talked to Amy. Let's get Jenny Craig. Hang on. Hi, babes. Look at this beautiful little banana pied Jenny Craig with a decent body condition, sitting at about 1,200 grams. She is a sweet young lady. Joe, thanks for the super chat. If done properly, is bioactive better for snakes or just fun for the keeper? How much effort is it in comparison to, say, a planted aquarium? Okay, so yeah, it is just for the keeper for sure. And there are look at him back there. He's going nuts. I'm just checking to see if he's actually going nuts or if I just caught him doing that, because he has gone nuts in the past. It's been a while, but I have pulled him out of Damara's enclosure before and put him back in his own, and he will go crazy. So we'll see what happens here. Anyway, bioactive is really for the keeper, and if we're talking about heavy-bodied snakes, it's quite a bit more work than you would expect. With any other cage, you've got to clean it every month. Like every 4 weeks or every 6 weeks, whatever your program is. But, and you don't have to do that with bioactive, but I replace plants a lot. He kills plants. If he does something like I think he might be doing right now, which is starting to go a little bit crazy, he'll start throwing his body all over and he might crush some plants and kill them. So it's a lot of work, but I like it. I think it's cool. It's a fun experiment. And so for me, it's worth it. If you have a smaller snake that's not heavy bodied, or you have a small lizard, bioactive is much better for those animals. But I think when you're talking about anything from a ball python to larger, like a retic, stuff like that, bioactive is just something you've got to keep up with, and it's going to be always changing, and you're going to go through a lot of plants. So I've done complete replants of that cage several times. All right, Jenny Craig, I don't think I want you on this app at the moment. So where did hang on. Let me just make sure that that snake is in one of those hides. Oh, he is. He's in that one. He didn't duck out. He's just hiding. So Jenny Craig is doing well. She's on medium rats now. She eats a medium rat every 3 weeks, and she's doing great. Petro, thanks for the super chat. Thoughts on African house snakes? They're really cool. I held one for the first time sort of recently, and they are like little pythons. They're not pythons. They're colubrids, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, somebody. But they kind of look and act like tiny pythons. I like them a lot. I think they're really cool. So that is my thought on those snakes. I don't know that I'll ever have any, but I think they're cool. This is interesting. He's not going crazy. This is kind of his normal. This is also the time that he normally comes out. So it might be a combination of that. But when he comes out, he doesn't glass surf. Like right now, he's glass surfing because I just interrupted his whole situation and put him back in his cage. Normally, he goes up on this. He'll hang out on this piece of wood, especially if he's hungry. He'll get into sort of a strike position, an ambush position on that wood. He'll crawl across the little building over here, the temple. And he also, and this drives me nuts. So there's a plant light. Let me open this door so maybe you can see it better. This light is a grow light for the plants. And it's got a lip on it right here that he can grab onto. And he does that. Not when it's on. Like right now, it's pretty hot. He doesn't try to do it when it's on. But when it's off, I only have it on for the live stream. But normally that would have shut off hours ago. He crawls on it and hugs it. And he just hangs out there until he falls. So I hear this drop. My bedroom is next door. And I hear him dropping from that lamp at night. Kind of annoying. Anyway. Tiana, best enclosure for a rainbow boa would be some sort of PVC enclosure because PVC holds heat and humidity well. And for your rainbow boa, humidity is going to be key. You want very high humidity and you don't want it going out of a screen top or anything like that. So, this girl was slipping. Tubs are good for a younger snake. You want to give them some room as they get older, but a tub would do well to keep humidity in for a young one. And that's when it's really important is if you're getting a baby rainbow boa, if their humidity is not right for like a day, they might just decide to die on you. So you got to be really careful with the babies. Flurry Daddy, thanks for the super chat. Getting into breeding ball pythons, what's the best incubator or for just one clutch that isn't super expensive? Well, your best incubator for just one clutch is the mama. Just let her incubate it because they do just fine incubating their own. You just have to make sure that their heat is good. You know, if they're 88 to 90 degrees, that'll be fine. And then you want to make sure that their enclosure, especially around where they're nesting and where they've got those eggs, is humid enough. So you're adding water around the snake without getting those eggs wet. That's kind of the tricky thing. You don't want to get the eggs wet, but you want the substrate around the snake, which should be like cocoa husk mixed with sphagnum moss is a good substrate for them to incubate on. You want the stuff around them to be pretty wet. So they've got high humidity. But to answer your question on incubators, I use Sea Serpent incubator, and mine I think would hold probably 6 to 9. If I used the very bottom, I guess it would hold 9 clutches, 9 shoebox size boxes. I never would have that many in there, though, at least at this point. So, but really, if you don't have an incubator, it's totally fine. You can let your snake maternally incubate, and they know how to do it. They do just fine. Speaking of maternally incubate, check this out. I'll show you another snake. I'll show you the snake that just maternally incubated. Not just, but did last time. Okay, say goodbye to Jenny Craig. She's real pretty. Oops. Amy, were you waving goodbye to Jenny Craig, or were you were? Okay, all right. I can see her I've got like a little window where I can see her. She was literally waving goodbye to Jenny Craig, but I thought she was trying to get my attention. All right, hang on. Here's a mama who successfully maternally incubated a clutch of eggs. This is Freya. And I have a little story to tell you about Freya from yesterday. I have some of these big mamas that I let free roam in this room. And some of them, like Freya, I don't feel like I have to keep an eye on. I don't need to know where they are at all times because they're pretty much always going to be under my couch or behind the furniture. There's a big stand-up mirror that they like to be behind. And once they've settled, they're pretty much there all day. And but I know that could change. That's not necessarily always going to be the case all the time. But I tend to spend time outside. I go into Kent's Corner and I edit. Sometimes I bring my computer out there to work because it's just a different change of pace. And I was outside yesterday for about 6 hours. Freya, I let her out in the morning and she was just behind the mirror. And that's normally she could be behind the mirror until evening and I would pick her up and put her back in her cage and that would be her day. So yesterday I come in after hours outside and Freya is right up here. How did she get? I mean, obviously she climbed up here, but this is pretty high up. There's not a lot of avenues for her to go to get up here, but this is where she was. And I don't doubt her ability to climb. It's just pretty high up. I don't know how she did it. And I'm glad that she was so visible. There's not many places like she can't, it's not hard to find her if I, went to get her from behind the mirror and she all of a sudden wasn't there. There's not many places that she can go in the green room, but the fact that she was up here was pretty crazy. She had an adventure yesterday. Flurry Daddy, no, the females typically don't eat during maternal incubation, although I have heard from some breeders that occasionally a female will take food. So that's the tricky thing. When I decided to let Freya maternally incubate, I knew that I wasn't going to breed her again this year. So I wasn't in a hurry to get her back up to weight. Now she's a great eater and she is back up to weight, but I'm still not breeding her this year. But yeah, they'll usually sit on those eggs and not eat. Kismet Jax, thanks for the super chat. Tote size for adult size ball python quarantine bin. I don't know what to say for size. Like, I don't know what the measurements are, but you want, I mean, if it's quarantine, get a tote that's about, if you take the length of the snake and let's say that the length of the tub plus the width of the tub equals about the length of the snake, that's probably good. But it's quarantine, so it doesn't have to be. They're only going to be in there for 30 to 60 days, which is not a long time, So don't have it so small that they're crammed in there, but you also don't need it to be massive. You want them to be comfortable in there, but you want it to be very simple and you want it on paper. You want to be able to see mites or any problem that the snake has. So it doesn't need to be super big and elaborate. I would say a tub that is where the length and the width equals about or maybe is longer than the snake is long. That's what I would say. Tara, that's right. This is Naomi's mama. And this is for a lot of you that have snakes from the green room pythons. This might be the mama because she's probably responsible for more baby snakes than any other individual here in the green room. She said, I've had more clutches from Freya. She's a very good breeder, but I don't want her to breed every year. Like, give her 2 or 3 years and then give her a year off. And she would love to, though. She would love to breed. She was doing follicle building behavior recently, where she was kind of on her side with her belly up. She's been bull wrapping, such like that. But I don't want her to go through the physical stress of having a clutch this year. We'll give her a year off. I think that's good. That's good to do for these snakes. Flory Daddy, no, this is not. She is not spider at all. This is the white sides are calico. She is a calico orange dream, which you can't see at all, but she produces beautiful orange dream babies. And she is also extreme gene, which I still can't really tell you what that gene does because I don't know. It's despite the name, it's a very subtle gene. Nancy Drew, thanks for the super chat. Look at Freya ruining my hat. Blood python for bite anxious beginner. Bad idea? Yeah. Yeah. Blood pythons bite hard and fast. They're I mean, look, it's the thing is I just don't think that a snake bite is a huge problem if we're talking about a non-venomous snake. But blood pythons are thick, strong, heavy, fast snakes. They will. I got bit by a large boa constrictor in the Amazon recently. It bit my bicep. Wasn't a big deal. Didn't really hurt, but it left a bruise. So it bit me hard enough to leave a bruise on my bicep. I don't bruise easily. So it was interesting to see that. I would say that a blood python would probably bruise me every time. So maybe it's a bad idea, but also if you love blood pythons and you think they're really cool, maybe you could work on that anxiety so you're not so afraid of it. You just go, all right. And also they tend to bite. They're not, it's not like a ball python that if you buy a ball python, it probably won't bite you. I would say if you buy a blood python, it probably will bite you. So get it as a baby, take the bite from a baby blood, and then you'll get used to what that is, and it won't be as big of a deal when it gets bigger. That's my advice. Took me a while to get there, but that's what I would say. Do that. Look at my hat band, you guys. It's a pretty hat band, but just kind of wrecking my hat. Look at that. It snaps right back into shape. Freya, you're so pretty. There we go. Yeah, choke me out. Okay. Erica, that's true. Boas definitely hit harder than ball pythons. That's true. They also will bluff strike sometimes. And the strike is, I say that the startling part of the strike is the worst thing when you get bit. And with a boa, it's even worse because they give this crazy like sound. If they're doing a defensive strike, they'll make almost a growling hiss, which is even more startling. It's very fun if you like scary stuff. Are we done? Are we done with this live stream, you guys? At 2 hours and 48 minutes, I think we're close to it. Does anyone have any last minute questions before we end this? I'm going to give it 2 minutes. Because look, we've already got people saying goodnight. But wait, if you just wait 2 minutes, you'll see the end of this. Oh, this is interesting, Tara. Sumatran shorttails are much sweeter, incorrectly called black bloods. Okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Easier to handle. Madison, yes, I will go over ball python breathing. Snakes in general don't breathe like mammals do, and they don't need to breathe as much. So they don't respirate as much to pull oxygen in all the time. But when you see them breathing heavy, that's a good sign that your snake is feeling stressed. So a lot of times when you go in to pull them out of their cage, you'll start to see those lungs start to breathe. And that's a great sign that tells you how they're feeling. And good thing to look for. And the lungs are in the upper third of the body. You'll see it if they're breathing heavy. You'll see exactly where those lungs are, and it's good to keep an eye on that. See this? I don't keep Kent in a hole. He lives at our mother's house. That's where he stays, and he hasn't been around for a while because, there wasn't a video last week. There was planned to be a video last week. I was gonna post it. I was gonna finish it on my phone and post it from Apora, and then on the way to Apora is when I destroyed my phone, so I wasn't able to do that, and that's why we didn't have a video that last week. And then this week we had a live stream. Normally the videos come out on Mondays, but on live stream weeks, a video doesn't come out on Monday. We have a live stream on Thursday. So that was this week. So this is the first time that we've gone over a week without a regular video from Green Room Pythons. Sorry about that, you guys. Next week, though. Next week will be great. I'm furiously editing. I'm feverishly editing. Amy, you want to show some snakes? I'm bringing you back. And right now, if I bring you back right now, there you go. If I bring you back right now, we're just going to see your legs and butt because you were standing up.
Well, I'm glad that you got to see it, I guess.
Look at that one. Talk about that snake.
This is Marty Love. This is Delilah's mini-me.
That's right. That's
She's so precious.
Yeah, so
I also have another snake from this clutch, and his name is Colin Robinson, and he is equally handsome, but looks nothing like this snake.
That's right.
At all.
So Marty and Colin Robinson are from my Delilah and Ron, right?
Yes.
Ron was the father on those. Yeah.
Yep. And then I have, I got the big girl back here. We're fighting because she's being a racist again.
Yeah, she only eats certain colored rats sometimes, right?
Yes. And for the longest time, she would only eat white rats. And then she went on a hunger strike, and then she didn't care. So for a long time, I could feed her whatever color I got, and it was great. But I could never order from like online places like Lane Labs because I never knew what I was gonna get. So I had to go to St. George. I had to drive an hour away to a pet store where they would show me what I was getting before I bought it. And
okay, but do you know that Lane Labs specifically has colored rodents that you actually can order?
yes, I do know that now.
Okay.
But I didn't know that back in the day.
I gotcha. Okay.
And then right before I left for the Amazon, she wouldn't eat. And I was like, I don't know what her deal is. And then she ate for Katie, I think one meal, maybe. But then she wouldn't eat for Katie. And Katie was like, I don't know what her deal is because she's acting like she's hungry. And then she just will not eat.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And then last night she did the same thing to Katie and I. And I was like, what color was the rat you were trying to feed her last week? And she was like, gray. And I was like, dang it, she's doing it again. So.
Well, she's a good body condition though, so she can go a while without eating.
She can. Okay, I'm going to get Colin. Hang on.
Okay. It's good to see that brother and sister and see how different they are. Freya is handcuffing me right now, but I'm going to put her back in a moment. We're going to look at Marty and Colin, and then we'll end the live stream. You guys, thanks so much for sticking with. We still have over 100 people in this live stream, and I realize it's gone a very long time. So I appreciate those of you who have been here the whole time. And if you're watching after the fact and you just have this on while you're cleaning snakes or something, thanks for having this on. Thanks for sticking around for 2 hours and 54 minutes. Oh my gosh, we're almost at the 3-hour mark.
Let go. Come here, you.
Amy's got cool snakes.
He's hanging on so tight. He does not want to come out.
Oh, okay.
Go.
What's he hanging on to? Can you bring out whatever he's hanging on to?
Well, I have that little like bar that goes across the middle of their enclosure.
Mm-hmm.
His enclosure. I just have one in his and Marty's. See, they look nothing alike.
Yeah.
But
So Colin
cute.
is what's Colin? Inchy.
And either yellow belly or asphalt.
Or asphalt. We don't know.
And she is a pastel orange dream Mardi Gras.
So Mardi Gras is Inchy freeway.
Yes.
And a freeway, this is really confusing. A freeway is asphalt and yellow belly together.
So
but what we call a Mardi Gras is asphalt, yellow belly, and Enchi together.
Yes.
So we have names for. Yeah, go ahead.
Asphalt, yellow belly, Enchi, orange dream, pastel.
That's right. And which is literally what she is, but we have names for morph combos that makes it even more confusing when when we call them by their combo name. All right, Freya is back in her enclosure.
This is Boo Boo.
Oh, that's another snake that came from me. Oh, whoops,
Yep.
Hang on. I meant to show you, not me. There we go.
Look at all the snakes, guys. All right.
So who are Boo Boo's parents?
These two are from the same clutch, so they're Ron and Delilah. And then Boo Boo actually technically belongs to my sister, but he lives at my house. And Boo Boo's parents, I believe, are the Inspector and Lucille.
Yeah, that's right. And Max, who I showed earlier, is Boo Boo's clutch mate.
Yes. Look at all the Green Room Python alumni.
That's right. That's true. Pretty cute. Okay. All right. Wave goodbye. So everybody say goodbye. I'm switching cameras. Here we go. Boom.
Boom.
So, Amy, I'm going to pull you back into the backstage area. All right. So, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out for so long. This was such a fun live stream. I loved having Dave, Amy, and Amy on to talk about the adventure. You know, there are videos coming out. I've got a video coming out next week. I'll have another, at least one, maybe two more coming out. But also Dave did shoot video for all of his channels, and you'll get a better sense of what we do when we're there, because I'm showing you just the snake stuff that we find the animals. But Dave's got a food channel, so he's going to show you. We've got food reviews that he and I did on his food channel. They're very funny, and we've got good stuff. We had food that we hated, and we had food that we loved. So that's on his channel. Plus, I think he's got fishing stuff on his channel, because we go fishing there too that I don't show at all. And then I think he's going to come out with the Suriname video just on his adventure channel. So you'll get to see more rounded what that trip is like if you look at those videos. Anyway, thanks for being here on this live stream, and new video next week on Monday, as long as I can get it done, and live stream next month. Thanks, you guys. Have a great night.